My beloved child, listen carefully. This is not a message you casually stumble upon. This message has been trying to reach you for longer than you realize, crossing seasons, silence, and struggle to arrive at this exact moment. Do not rush past these words. Do not treat this as background noise. Slow your heart, still your thoughts, and stay with me until the end, because what is being spoken here carries weight meant specifically for you. I am not speaking to the crowd. I am speaking to you, the one who feels this pause deep inside. There is a reason your spirit leaned in. There is a reason your attention has been caught. What you are about to hear will clarify what has confused you, confirm what you sensed, and mark a turning point you cannot ignore. Stay. Listen closely. This moment matters more than you know. My child, let me begin by quieting the noise around you, because what I am about to say was not meant to compete with the world for your attention. This moment did not slip through chance, and these words did not wander their way into your life without purpose. Long before your eyes rested here, long before your heart felt that subtle pause, the one that made you stop instead of moving on, I was already at work. You may think you arrived here by curiosity, boredom, or coincidence, but I tell you with tenderness and authority, this message did not find you by accident. I have been guiding you gently, patiently, persistently, through paths you could not see, nudging your spirit when your mind was too loud to hear me clearly. There were moments when you felt interrupted, moments when something inside you whispered, "Wait, slow down, pay attention." That whisper was not imagination. That was me. I have watched you rush past signs meant to slow you, ignore pauses meant to protect you, and dismiss moments meant to awaken you. Still, I did not stop reaching. I am not a father who gives up when my child looks away. I am not deterred by your doubt, your weariness, or your distractions. I have followed you through crowded days and lonely nights, through seasons of confidence and seasons of collapse. And now, here you are, standing at a quiet intersection of time and intention, where heaven gently leans in and says, "This one is for you." You are not here because you were lucky. You are here because I arranged it. I wove together circumstances you would never connect, slowed moments you thought were inconveniences, and allowed interruptions you did not understand, all so your heart would be in the right posture to receive this word. Even your restlessness played a role. Even your unanswered questions did their work. I know you have been searching, even when you told yourself you were not. I know you have been listening, even when you claimed you were tired of listening. This message is not an intrusion. It is a response. A response to prayers you whispered and then forgot you prayed. A response to tears you shed without words. A response to the deep, unspoken longing in you that kept asking, "Is there more? Is anyone paying attention? Does any of this matter?" I am answering you now. Yes, I see you. Yes, it matters. And yes, this moment was chosen. And as I speak to you now, I want you to understand something gently but firmly. Nothing about your life has been random, even when it felt chaotic. You have replayed moments in your mind, wondering how you ended up where you are, questioning your decisions, blaming yourself for turns you regret and delays you don't understand. But hear me, my child. If this message were truly accidental, it would not have pierced you the way it has. Accidents do not awaken the soul. Coincidences do not stir the depths of the heart. This stirring you feel is recognition. Your spirit knows my voice, even when your mind struggles to explain it. You are responding to something familiar, something ancient, something that has known you longer than you have known yourself. I have been trying to reach you since before you realized you were drifting, since before you felt the weight you now carry, since before disappointment hardened places in you that once hoped freely. I have watched you interpret delays as rejection, silence as abandonment, and waiting as punishment. Yet even in your misinterpretation, I stayed close. I let you walk long enough to realize you were tired. I let you search long enough to feel the emptiness of searching without direction. Not to harm you, never to harm you, but to prepare you to recognize my voice when I finally spoke this clearly. This message is not here to impress you or rush you. It is here to meet you where you are and gently turn your face toward truth. You are not being summoned with fear, but with love. I am not here to accuse you of missing signs, but to show you how faithfully I placed them. Look back, and you will see moments that almost stopped you, thoughts that almost softened you, interruptions that almost redirected you. Those almosts were me. And now, this is no longer an almost. This is the moment I have been building toward. Not because time ran out, but because your heart finally slowed enough to listen. Stay here with me. Let this realization settle. You are not lost. You are not late. And you are not alone. This message has been trying to reach you because I have been trying to reach you, and I always will. My child, before the noise of the world ever learned your name, I was already speaking to you in the quiet places. Not in the thunder, not in the spectacle, not in the chaos that demands attention, but in the still moments you almost overlooked. I have been calling you when the lights were dim, when the room was silent, when your heart was heavy and your strength was thin. I spoke to you in the late hours when sleep would not come, when your mind replayed conversations you wished had gone differently, when questions echoed louder than answers. Those moments were not weakness. They were invitations. Invitations to slow down. Invitations to listen. Invitations to notice that beneath your exhaustion, beneath your confusion, beneath your forced bravery, there was a voice calling your name with patience and precision. I did not shout because you were already overwhelmed. I did not accuse because you were already caring enough. I whispered because whispers require closeness, and I have always wanted to be near you. You felt it, didn't you? That subtle awareness that you were not alone, even when no one else was there. That gentle pressure on your heart that made you pause, sigh, or stare into nothing for a moment longer than you could explain. That was not emptiness. That was me filling the silence with my presence. You thought those quiet moments were gaps in your life, spaces to endure until something louder happened. But those were sacred spaces, holy ground, places where your defenses fell away and your true questions surfaced. I was not waiting for you to perform. I was waiting for you to be honest. And honesty often comes when everything else goes quiet. And in those quiet places, my child, I heard the prayers you never finished. The ones that began with hope and ended in tears. The ones you stopped mid-sentence because you were afraid of being disappointed again. I heard the questions you were scared to ask out loud. Am I enough? Did I miss it? Why does this still hurt? I heard them all, not as complaints, not as failures, but as the language of a heart still reaching, even when it felt tired of reaching. The world taught you to equate silence with absence, but I tell you now, silence is often where I do my deepest work. It is easy to believe I am present when things are loud and visible. It is harder, but truer, to recognize me when everything feels still and uncertain. Yet those were the moments when I was closest. When your strength dropped, my nearness increased. When your certainty faded, my guidance sharpened. You were never ignored in those quiet places. You were being formed there. Like roots growing underground before a tree ever breaks the surface. Your faith, your endurance, your discernment were deepening where no one could applaud you. That is why the quiet felt heavy at times, because weight was being added to your spirit, not burden but substance. You were becoming someone who could hear me without noise, trust me without proof, and stay when others would have walked away. Do you see now why I did not rush you out of the quiet? Why I did not immediately fill the silence with answers or explanations? Because if I had, you would have mistaken the noise for my voice. I wanted you to know me, not just my interventions. I wanted you to recognize the sound of my presence, not just the results of my power. The quiet places were where intimacy was built, where dependency was softened into trust, where fear slowly lost its grip. Even now, as you read this, I am speaking in that same way, not forcing, not overwhelming, but steady, intentional, near. And I want you to understand this clearly. If you had not learned to hear me in the quiet, you would not recognize me now. This message would have passed you by like so many others. But you learned, even without realizing it, how to pause, how to feel, how to listen beyond words. That is why you are here. That is why this message resonates instead of blending in. I have been calling you in the quiet places because that is where your heart was most open, even when you thought it was just tired. And I am still calling you now, not louder, but deeper, drawing you further into a conversation that began long before this moment and will continue long after, if you stay. My beloved child, there were moments when my voice brushed against your thoughts so gently that you dismissed it as coincidence. A passing idea, a random feeling, a fleeting thought you couldn't explain. You told yourself it was nothing, just your mind wandering, just emotion, just timing. But hear me now, with clarity and compassion. It was never nothing. It was never random. It was never just timing. It was me. I spoke in ways that would not frighten you, in impressions rather than commands, in nudges rather than demands, because I knew how fragile you felt at times. I knew how easily pressure overwhelmed you. So I came softly. I came persistently. I came again and again, trusting that one day you would recognize the pattern. You saw it, didn't you? The same message appearing in different forms. The same theme returning through different voices. The same inner resistance rising whenever you were about to move away from what mattered. You thought, that's strange, or that's just a coincidence, or that's probably nothing. But coincidences do not repeat with intention. They do not align with your deepest questions. They do not arrive precisely when your heart is most vulnerable. Those moments were coordinated, not accidental. They were breadcrumbs on a path I was gently laying before you, hoping you would follow without fear. I watched as you second-guessed those moments, as you talked yourself out of listening, as you chose logic over intuition, comfort over conviction, familiarity over faith. And I did not withdraw. I did not punish you for hesitation. I simply waited and spoke again, because love is patient and truth is persistent. I sent reminders through conversations you overheard, words that lingered longer than they should have. I placed interruptions in your routine, small delays, unexpected pauses, moments that slowed you just enough to feel something stir inside. You called them inconveniences. I called them opportunities. You thought you were overthinking. I knew you were beginning to discern. Even now, as you reflect, you can trace a line through your life, a pattern of near misses, almost turns, gentle warnings you brushed aside. Not because you were disobedient, but because you were unsure you could trust what you were hearing. You had been disappointed before. You had hoped before and been let down. So you learned to doubt what felt too meaningful. And yet, despite that doubt, you kept sensing something pulling you back, again and again, toward truth, toward stillness, toward me. That pull was not your imagination. It was relationship. And now, my child, I want you to see the contrast clearly between coincidence and calling, between randomness and recognition. Coincidence fades quickly. Calling stays with you. Coincidence entertains the mind. Calling unsettles the soul. Coincidence can be ignored without consequence. Calling waits, returns, and grows louder in meaning even when it remains gentle in tone. That is what has been happening to you. My voice did not force itself into your life. It lingered and waited. It trusted that one day you would stop dismissing what felt too intentional to be random. This message is not the beginning of my speaking. It is the moment you finally recognize the voice that has been there all along. And that recognition changes everything. Because once you know it is me, you can no longer call it coincidence. You can no longer tell yourself it doesn't matter. You can no longer pretend you didn't hear. Not because I demand obedience, but because truth, once recognized, carries weight. Responsibility. Possibility. I am not angry that it took time. I am not disappointed that you questioned. I am grateful that you are here now, seeing clearly what was once blurred by fear and doubt. This is not condemnation. It is clarity. Not pressure, but perspective. You did not fail to hear me. You learned how to hear me. And now that you know my voice, truly know it, you will begin to notice how often I speak, how patiently I guide, how intentionally I lead. What once felt like coincidence will now feel like conversation. And that, my child, is the doorway into everything that comes next. My child, there is something I need you to understand gently, but truthfully, because it has shaped more of your life than you realize. I have watched you carry more than you were ever meant to carry. I saw it long before you admitted it to yourself. I saw it when you smiled and said you were fine while your spirit felt heavy. I saw it when you said yes out of obligation, when you stayed silent to keep the peace, when you held yourself together so others wouldn't fall apart. You became strong early, didn't you? Strong not because you wanted to be, but because you felt you had to be. You learned how to endure, how to manage pain quietly, how to absorb pressure without letting it show. And people praise you for it. They called you dependable, resilient, capable. But what they called strength often came at the cost of your rest, your softness, your freedom to be honest about how tired you truly were. I watched you take on responsibilities that were never yours to begin with. Emotional weight, expectations, other people's fears, other people's disappointments, other people's unfinished healing. You carried it because you love it deeply, because you didn't want to be a burden, because you believed that if you just held on a little longer, things would eventually get lighter. But instead of getting lighter, they got heavier, and still, you kept going. I saw the moments when your body slowed down but your mind refused to rest. When your soul asked for relief, but your sense of duty overruled it. You told yourself that this was just how life was, that everyone was tired, that you shouldn't complain. You compared your pain to others and minimized it. You learned how to survive by shrinking your needs. And all the while, I was watching, not distant, not passive, not indifferent. I was watching with the eyes of a father who knows when his child is carrying weight that will eventually bend them if it is not set down. I saw how the weight changed you, how it made you more cautious, how it taught you to brace for disappointment, how it hardened certain places in you while making others ache even more. You didn't just carry responsibilities. You carried unresolved grief, unspoken resentment, unanswered questions, and the quiet fear that if you stopped being strong, everything would fall apart. My child, hear this clearly. Strength was never meant to come from carrying everything alone. True strength comes from knowing when to release what was never yours to hold. And yet, you didn't know how. No one taught you how. So you kept carrying. And I stayed close, even when you didn't notice me there. There were moments when you wondered why you felt so exhausted even when nothing seemed wrong. Why joy felt muted. Why rest never felt complete. It was because weight you were never designed to bear was pressing on your spirit day after day. You were functioning, but you were not free. You were surviving, but you were not breathing fully. And still, I did not shame you for it. I did not demand that you drop everything all at once. I simply began preparing a moment, this moment, where I could finally say to you what you were not ready to hear before. You do not have to carry this anymore. You were not meant to be everyone's refuge. You were not meant to fix what you did not break. You were not meant to be endlessly strong without being deeply supported. Contrast this truth with the lie you learned, that your value was tied to how much you could endure. That lie kept you moving, but it kept you bound. I am not calling you weak for being tired. I am calling you wise for finally stopping long enough to notice it. This message had been reaching for you because I knew the weight was becoming too much, and because I love you too much to let you keep living under it without relief. And now, my child, I want you to feel the shift as I speak this next truth slowly, intentionally, repeatedly until it sinks deep. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to receive. You are allowed to be held. You do not need to prove your worth by suffering quietly. You do not need to earn love by overextending yourself. You do not need to keep carrying what I have been offering to take from you for a long time. This is not me rebuking you. This is me relieving you. I have watched long enough. I have waited patiently enough. And now I am inviting you, no, calling you, to lay it down. Not all at once if that feels frightening, but honestly, willingly, trustingly. The weight you release will not cause collapse. It will create space. Space for healing. Space for clarity. Space for joy you forgot was possible. Say here with me. Let your shoulders drop. Let your breath slow. Let this truth repeat itself until it becomes real. You were never meant to carry this alone. And you never will again. My child, I know how you have interpreted the delays in your life. I know the frustration they stirred, the confusion they created, the questions they forced you to ask in the quiet hours. You thought delay meant denial. You thought waiting meant rejection. You thought the doors that stayed shut were evidence that you were forgotten, overlooked, or somehow disqualified. But hear me now with clarity and compassion. Every delay was me protecting you, not punishing you, not withholding from you, protecting you. I stood between you and things you asked for because you could not yet see what I could see. I saw outcomes you could not imagine. I saw consequences you could not predict. I saw versions of yourself that had not yet been formed, and I knew that if I rushed the timing, the very thing you desired would have harmed you instead of helping you. Contrast what you felt with what was happening. You felt stalled. I was shielding. You felt stubborn. I was strengthening. You felt overlooked. I was repositioning. Delay felt like loss to you because you were measuring time by urgency, while I was measuring readiness by depth. I was not slow. I was precise. There were moments when you almost stepped into something prematurely. Relationships that felt right but were rooted in imbalance. Opportunities that promised progress but demanded compromise. Paths that looked appealing but would have cost you your peace. You did not know what you were being spared from, only that you were tired of waiting. And I understand that tiredness. I never dismissed it. I held it with tenderness. But I could not give you what you wanted at the expense of who you were becoming. You asked me why it was taking so long. I asked myself how to protect your heart without hardening it. You wondered why others seemed to move ahead while you remained still. I was ensuring that when you moved, you would move with stability, not desperation. Repetition matters here, my child, so hear it again. Delay was not absence. Delay was not neglect. Delay was love in disguise. It was me saying, not yet, because right now would have cost you more than you were ready to lose. I did not delay because you lacked faith. I delayed because you were still forming roots deep enough to hold what was coming. And even now, as you look back, you can begin to see it. The things you once begged for that you are now grateful you never received. The paths you almost took that would have led you away from yourself. The timing you resented that now makes sense in hindsight. But there are still delays you don't understand yet, still waiting you wish had ended sooner. That is why this message matters now. Because I am not only explaining the past, I am preparing you for what comes next. I need you to approach what is coming with trust instead of urgency, with discernment instead of desperation. High-impact truth often sounds simple, but it carries weight. What arrives too early often leaves too soon. I wanted what I give you to last. I wanted it to bless you, not break you. I wanted it to meet you when you were strong enough to steward it, not just excited enough to receive it. That is why I ask you to wait when waiting hurt. That is why I stayed silent when you wanted reassurance. I was doing a deeper work than you could see, shaping you into someone who would not lose themselves when the blessing finally arrived. So now, my child, let me speak this final part slowly, clearly, loving me. The delays are lifting. Not because you forced them to. Not because you finally earned it. But because the protection has done its work. You are not the same person you were when you first asked. You see differently. You discern differently. You value peace differently. And because of that, what comes next will not feel like chaos. It will feel aligned. Do not rush ahead of me now. Walk with me. Let the memory of past delays become proof of my faithfulness, not fuel for fear. I did not hold you back. I held you safe. And I will continue to do so, even as the season begins to shift. Trust the timing that once frustrated you. It was shaped by love, guided by wisdom, and designed with you in mind. My child, there comes a moment when love no longer whispers and patience no longer waits quietly at the edge. There comes a moment when interruption becomes mercy. This is that moment. I did not interrupt your scrolling, your routine, your plans, or your thoughts because I wanted to inconvenience you. I interrupted you because time matters. Not the kind of time you measure with clocks and calendars, but the kind that shapes destiny, alters direction, and determines what you carry forward into the next season of your life. There are moments that look ordinary on the surface but carry eternal weight beneath them, and this is one of those moments. I have watched you move quickly through life, thinking there would always be another chance to listen, another opportunity to slow down, another moment to respond. But hear me now, not every moment returns the same way it came. Some moments are windows, not doors, open for a season, then quietly closed. This interruption is not pressure, it is precision. I am stepping into your momentum because you were moving just fast enough to miss what mattered most. You were surviving, functioning, producing, but you were drifting from the deeper alignment of your soul. So I interrupted you. I placed something in your path that made you pause, that made your heart lean forward, that made your spirit recognize something familiar and urgent at the same time. That recognition is not anxiety, it is awareness. And awareness is the beginning of change. Time matters because hearts harden gradually, not suddenly. They close little by little, choice by choice, moment by moment. I saw the subtle shift happening in you. Not rebellion, not rejection, but fatigue. A tiredness that made you less responsive, less expectant, less open than you once were. You didn't stop believing. You just stopped listening as closely. You didn't lose hope. You simply learned how to live without expecting too much. And while that may have protected you from disappointment, it was also quietly shrinking your vision. So I interrupted you before resignation became your default posture. I interrupted you before numbness felt normal. I interrupted you before "this is just how life is" became the loudest voice in your heart. Contrast is important here, my child. There is a difference between patience and postponement, between waiting with hope and waiting without expectation. You were slipping toward the second, and I love you too much to let that happen unnoticed. This interruption is not about urgency rooted in fear. It is urgency rooted in love. It is me saying, stay awake. Stay present. Do not drift past this. And I know interruptions can feel uncomfortable. They disrupt your rhythm. They challenge your assumptions. They ask you to reevaluate what you thought was settled. But interruption is often the birthplace of transformation. The greatest shifts in your life did not come when everything was smooth. They came when something stopped you long enough to ask different questions. This moment is doing that now. You feel it in the way these words linger instead of passing through. You feel it in the way your attention keeps returning, even when you try to move on. That is not manipulation, that is resonance. Something in you knows this matters. And I want you to understand why. Time matters because there are patterns forming in your life right now. Patterns of thought, patterns of response, patterns of belief that will shape what comes next. If those patterns remain unexamined, they will quietly determine outcomes you never consciously chose. I interrupted you so you could choose again. Choose awareness over autopilot. Choose alignment over endurance. Choose depth over distraction. This is not about doing more. It is about seeing clearly. And clarity, my child, is one of the greatest gifts I can give you. So stay with me here. Let the interruption do its work. Do not rush to label it or explain it away. Do not minimize it as just another message. This interruption is a hinge, a turning point between what has been and what could be. You do not need to decide everything right now. You simply need to stay present long enough to hear what I am saying beneath the words. Time matters because hearts respond best when they are still open, still tender, still willing. And yours is. That is why I came now. Not earlier, not later, now. Because this moment, this pause, this interruption is exactly on time. My beloved child, there are prayers that rise like songs, and there are prayers that never make it past a whisper. I know them both. But today I want to speak to the ones you never finished. The prayers that broke apart under the weight of disappointment. The sentences that trailed off when hope felt risky. The thoughts you swallowed because you were tired of asking for the same thing again. I know those prayers intimately. I know where you stop. I know why you stopped. I know the moment your voice caught, the moment your faith hesitated, the moment you thought, what's the point? You may think unfinished prayers are evidence of weakness, but I tell you they are evidence of honesty. They reveal where belief collided with pain, where trust wrestled with experience. I never turned away from those prayers. I never required eloquence or completion. I listened to the silence that followed them. I heard what you could not bring yourself to say. And more than that, I understood it. You stopped praying not because you stopped believing in me, but because you were afraid of believing again. Afraid of hoping again. Afraid of opening yourself to disappointment one more time. Your seasons when prayer felt when words flowed freely, when faith felt light. And then there were seasons when prayer felt heavy, when every word felt costly, when silence felt safer than asking. You told yourself you would pray later, when you felt stronger, when things made more sense, when your heart didn't ache as much. But later stretched longer than you expected. And slowly, without intending to, you learned how to carry questions instead of offering them. You learned how to manage life without asking too much of me. That was not rebellion. It was self-protection. But it also left something unfinished inside you. Unfinished prayers do not disappear. They wait. They settle into the heart like seeds beneath the soil, dormant, but alive. I have been holding those prayers with patience, not pressure. I did not rush you back into speaking when your heart needed rest. I did not demand faith when you were recovering from disappointment. I stayed close, listening, even when you were quiet. Contrast again matters here. Silence is not absence, and unfinished prayers are not unanswered. They are suspended, not discarded. And suspension is often preparation. Even now, as you read this, some of those prayers are stirring. Not loudly, not dramatically, but gently, like something waking up after a long sleep. You feel it in the way certain words ache when you read them, in the way certain memories surface unexpectedly, in the way certain longings you thought were gone suddenly feel present again. That is not regression, that is resurrection. I am not dragging you backward. I am inviting you forward with honesty. I am not asking you to pretend you are stronger than you are. I am asking you to trust that I am stronger than you need to be. You do not have to finish every prayer perfectly. You do not have to explain yourself clearly. You do not have to resolve every doubt before you speak. All I ask is that you let unfinished prayers become open again. Not forced, not rehearsed, but real. I already know the words. I am waiting for your heart to recognize that it is safe to speak them again. So here is what I want you to hear clearly, repeatedly, and without hesitation. Nothing you stopped praying about was ignored. Nothing you couldn't finish disqualified you. Nothing you questioned offended me. I am not intimidated by your doubt, and I am not disappointed by your pauses. I am faithful in the waiting, faithful in the silence, faithful in the unfinished places. This message is part of how I am answering prayers you thought expired. Not by rushing fulfillment, but by restoring trust. Not by overwhelming you with outcomes, but by reminding you that conversation with me never required perfection, only presence. Say here with me. Let the prayers you never finished breathe again. Not because you must, but because you can. And when you are ready, we will finish them together. My child, I know the question you have been carrying, even when you tried not to form it into words. It has followed you quietly through ordinary days and louder nights. You have wondered, sometimes gently and sometimes with pain, do you still see me? Not because you stopped believing I exist, but because life trained you to feel unseen. Because effort went unnoticed. Because faith felt unrewarded. Because you kept showing up while others moved on, and silence answered you more often than affirmation. I have watched you ask this question without speaking it. I have felt the weight behind it. And now I answer you clearly, deliberately, and without hesitation. I see you. I have always seen you. I have never lost sight of you. Not when you were confident, not when you were confused, not when you were faithful, and not when you were exhausted. I see you in ways no one else can, because I see beneath what you present and beyond what you feel. I see the effort that never received applause. I see the restraint you practiced when it would have been easier to react. I see the prayers you offered that seemed to fall into silence. I see the nights you lay awake replaying moments, wondering if your faithfulness mattered. It mattered then. It matters now. And it has always mattered to me. But here is where the pain entered. My child, you began to measure being seen by being acknowledged. You began to equate visibility with validation, response with recognition. When no one clapped, you assumed no one noticed. When no answers came quickly, you assumed no one cared. And slowly, subtly, the lie crept in that maybe you were overlooked, not just by people, but by me. Conquest this truth carefully. Being unseen by people does not mean being unseen by God. Silence from heaven does not mean absence of attention. I have been watching with intention, not indifference. With purpose, not passivity. I saw you grow quieter not because you were empty, but because you were tired of explaining yourself. I saw you become more reserved not because you lost passion, but because disappointment taught you to guard your heart. I saw you lower your expectations not because you lacked faith, but because you were afraid of hoping again. And through it all, I never turned away. I never looked elsewhere. I never confused your quietness for disinterest or your fatigue for failure. I saw the cost of every choice you made to remain kind, faithful, patient, and steady in a world that rewards noise and speed. And I honored it, even when no one else did. Let me say this again, because repetition is needed where wounds are deep. I see you. I see you when you feel invisible. I see you when you feel forgotten. I see you when you feel replaceable. I see you when you feel like just another name among many. You are not hidden from me. You are held in my attention. And there is a difference. Hidden things are lost. Held things are protected. I have held you through seasons where being seen would have exposed you to harm before you were ready. I have held you while shaping you quietly, intentionally, deeply. And now, the reason this message has reached you is because you are ready to hear what you could not receive before. Being seen by me is not dependent on your output, your visibility, or your recognition. It is rooted in relationship. I do not see you because of what you do. I see you because you are mine. And that seeing has guided every delay, every interruption, every quiet season you resented but survived. You have never lived a single moment outside my awareness. The question was never whether I saw you. The question was whether you could trust my sight when you felt unseen by everyone else. And now, I am reminding you, you have always been seen, even in the moments you felt most invisible. You have wondered if you were seen, and now hear this. I see not only you, but the seeds you are willing to place into the ground for others to live. What you give in this moment becomes light for someone still walking in shadow, oil for a lamp that is almost empty, bread for a soul that has not heard my voice yet. I am not unjust to forget your work and the love you have shown, says the Lord. This is living truth, spoken now. If your heart is stirring to help this word reach farther, that stirring is my invitation. This is not charity, it is alignment, a divine exchange where heaven breathes on what you release. I will multiply what you sow, guard what concerns you, and cause favor to follow your obedience. Do not delay the prompting. Give now through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal. The PayPal link is in the video description. Act now, and let what you release become a voice for those still waiting to be seen. My beloved child, this message did not suddenly appear. It hath been forming, waiting, and following you through seasons you thought were unrelated. Through beginnings and endings. Through hope and disappointment. Through clarity and confusion. This message hath been chasing you, not to corner you, not to pressure you, but to reach you at the precise moment when your heart would finally recognize it. There were earlier versions of this message that almost reached you. Words you almost listened to. Moments you almost paused. Invitations you almost accepted. But you were not ready then. Not because you were rebellious, but because you were still surviving. Still processing. still carrying weight you had not yet learned how to release. So the message waited. It followed you quietly through time, adapting its shape, adjusting its timing, refining its tone, until now. Because now, you are listening differently. Now, you are not just hearing words, you are feeling meaning. Now, you are not rushing past resonance. This message has chased you because it carries truth meant specifically for this version of you. Not the one you were years ago, not the one you thought you should be, but the one you are becoming right now. You may not have noticed the pursuit, but it was there, in repeated themes that surfaced again and again, in conversations that echoed each other without coordination, in moments where something inside you stirred without explanation. You called them coincidences. I called them alignment. You thought you were circling the same questions. I was narrowing the focus. Each season refined your capacity to hear, to feel, to discern. Pain sharpened you. Waiting softened you. Disappointment stripped away illusions. Endurance deepened your roots. And through every season, this message remained just out of reach, close enough to be felt, far enough to wait until it would not be wasted. That is why it feels familiar now, like something you have heard before but never quite this clearly. Because parts of it have reached you in fragments over time. But fragments cannot transform, only fullness can. And now you are receiving fullness. This is why I ask you not to rush through this moment. Not to skim, not to multitask, not to reduce this to just another message. Messages that chase do so because they carry consequence. Not consequence of punishment, but consequence of decision. This message marks a transition, from drifting to choosing, from enduring to aligning, from surviving to awakening. It has followed you through seasons because seasons change people. And now, the version of you that exists today has the depth, the discernment, and the honesty to receive what the earlier versions could not hold. You are not behind. You are not late. You are precisely where the message can finally land without being distorted by fear or filtered through pain. That is why it reached you now. Not sooner. Not later. Now. So stay here with me. Let the weight of this realization settle. You have not been wandering aimlessly. You have been moving toward a moment of recognition. This message chased you because I never stopped pursuing you. Through seasons of silence and seasons of struggle, I stayed on the path behind you, beside you, ahead of you, waiting for the moment you would turn and see me clearly. And now you have. That is not an ending. It is a beginning. But beginnings require stillness before movement, awareness before action, presence before progress. To pause here. Breathe. Receive this truth. You have been pursued with intention, guided with patience, and met at exactly the right time. My child, there are tears the world sees, and there are tears only heaven records. I want to speak now to the ones you hid, the ones you wiped away quickly, the ones you swallowed back so no one would ask questions, the ones that fell in silence when you were finally alone. I saw every one of them. I did not miss a single tear, not the first, not the most recent, not the ones you told yourself didn't matter because others have it worse. Tears are never small to me. They are language when words fail. They are prayers when voices tremble. They are evidence that your heart was still alive even when it felt bruised, tired, and stretched thin. You learned early how to cry quietly, how to compose yourself quickly, how to step back into responsibility with red eyes and a steady voice. People may have thought you were strong, but I knew the strength came at a cost. I knew what it took for you to keep going when you felt like collapsing inward. And I want you to hear this clearly, because repetition heals what denial once covered. I did not forget those tears. I collected them. I honored them. I stayed near you as they fell. You hid your tears because you did not want to burden anyone, because you were afraid of being misunderstood, because you learned that vulnerability often invited judgment instead of comfort. So you cried where no one could see, into pillows, into steering wheels, into showers, into the quiet of the night. You told yourself to be grateful, to be resilient, to move on. But tears do not disappear just because they are hidden. They sink inward, shaping the heart in unseen ways. I saw how those tears softened you even as life tried to harden you. I saw how they kept you compassionate when bitterness would have been easier. I saw how they prevented your heart from closing completely, even when disappointment knocked again and again. Contrast this truth carefully. The world teaches you to hide tears as weakness, but I see them as testimony. They testify that you love it deeply, that you hoped sincerely, that you trusted enough to be disappointed, that you did not numb yourself when life became heavy. Every hidden tear was an act of courage, not failure. And I was present in those moments, not as a distant observer, but as a father close enough to feel the tremble in your breath. There were nights when you wondered if anyone knew how much you were holding together, if anyone noticed the quiet unraveling beneath your calm exterior. You questioned whether your pain mattered, whether it was worth acknowledging, whether it even counted. Dear me, now, it counted. It mattered. It shaped you. And it was never wasted. I do not waste suffering. I do not overlook quiet endurance. I do not forget the tears that fall without witnesses. Those tears watered places in you that are now capable of holding deeper joy, deeper empathy, deeper wisdom. You may not see the fruit yet, but it is there, forming slowly, patiently, intentionally. This message reaches you now because I am inviting you to stop hiding from your own story, to stop minimizing what you survive, to stop pretending it didn't hurt as much as it did. Healing begins where honesty is allowed to breathe. And I am creating space for that honesty now, not to reopen wounds, but to finally tend to them with care. So stay here with me for a moment. Let your shoulders relax. Let your breath deepen. Let the truth repeat until it settles. I saw your tears. I remember them. I am still here. You do not need to hide from me. You never did. And you never will. My beloved child, one of the deepest pains you carried was not the struggle itself, but the silence that surrounded it. You prayed. You waited. You listened. And when answers did not come the way you expected, you began to wonder if silence meant absence, if quiet meant indifference, if delay meant disinterest. But hear me now with clarity and tenderness. I was never silent. I was working. Silence to you felt empty, but silence to me was focused, intentional. I was not ignoring you. I was building something beneath the surface where noise would have disrupted the process. Just as roots grow best underground, unseen and undisturbed, so did the work I was doing in your life. You were listening for my voice and outcomes, while I was shaping your character in the waiting. You were scanning the horizon for movement, while I was strengthening your foundation. Contrast matters here, my child. Silence is not inactivity. Stillness is not stagnation. Waiting is not wasting. And you were never abandoned in the quiet. I know how disorienting it felt. How you replayed prayers in your mind, wondering if you said them wrong, believed too little, or asked for the wrong things. You questioned yourself. You questioned timing. You'd even question me. And I did not withdraw when you questioned. I stayed close. I allowed you to wrestle, because wrestling builds intimacy when it is rooted in relationship. I watched you learn patience not as a concept, but as a lived experience. I watched you learn discernment, how to sit with unanswered questions without running from them. I watched you develop endurance that did not depend on immediate reassurance. These were not accidental developments. They were necessary preparations. If I had spoken loudly during that season, you might have relied on the sound of my voice instead of the strength of your trust. I was teaching you how to walk even when you could not see the path clearly, how to stay grounded even when the wind shifted around you. And now, looking back, you can begin to see it, the subtle changes, the quiet growth, the resilience that did not exist before. You are not the same person you were when the silence began. You respond differently. You perceive differently. You choose differently. That did not happen by accident. It happened because I was working where you could not see. Every closed door redirected you. Every unanswered prayer refined you. Every pause protected you. High-impact truth often comes softly, so let this one repeat. I was not silent. I was strategic. I was not absent. I was attentive. I was not delaying out of neglect. I was timing with wisdom. This message is part of the unveiling, part of the moment when quiet work becomes visible fruit. You are beginning to hear again not because I subtly returned, but because the season of preparation is giving way to the season of recognition. So do not resent the silence that shaped you. Do not regret the waiting that strengthened you. Do not dismiss the unseen work that brought you here. I was working then. I am working now. And I will continue to work, even when the path ahead requires trust before clarity. Stay with me. Let this understanding settle. The silence you feared was never empty. It was full of purpose, and it carried you exactly where you are now. My child, I know this truth has been one of the hardest for you to accept, because it touched places in your heart that still ache when you think about them. Some people had to leave for this moment to come, not because you were unlovable, not because you failed, not because you were difficult to stay with, but because not everyone who walked with you was meant to arrive with you. I watched the confusion on your face when connections faded without explanation, when loyalty dissolved quietly, when promises evaporated without apology. You replayed conversations. You questioned your words. You wondered what you could have done differently. And while you searched for closure, I was doing something deeper than explanation. I was creating separation for your protection. There are seasons where togetherness nurtures growth, and there are seasons where togetherness delays it. Some people were aligned with who you were, but not with who you were becoming. And because you love it deeply, you would have stayed too long, adjusted too much, diminished yourself too quietly just to keep them close. So I stepped in, not abruptly, not cruelly, but firmly, and allowed distance where attachment would have harmed you. I know it felt like loss. I know it felt like abandonment. I know it felt like punishment at times. But contrast this truth carefully. Removal is not rejection, and loss is not always theft. Sometimes it is release. Sometimes it is rescue. I saw what you could not see, how certain voices were shaping your doubts, how certain relationships were reinforcing old wounds instead of healing them, how certain dynamics kept you explaining yourself instead of expressing yourself freely. You thought you were being patient. I knew you were being drained. You thought you were being loyal. I knew you were being stretched thin. And I loved you too much to let familiar pain become your permanent environment. So I allowed distance to grow. I allowed silence to settle. I allowed paths to diverge. Not because I enjoy watching you grieve, but because I refuse to let comfort sabotage your calling. Some people were only meant to walk with you through survival, not transformation. They helped you endure, but they could not help you expand. And expansion requires space. You have wondered if their leaving meant something was wrong with you. Hear me now, clearly and without hesitation. Their leaving did not diminish your value. It revealed your direction. When something no longer fits, it resists. When alignment shifts, tension appears. You felt it before they left. The strain, the heaviness, the quiet exhaustion of trying to remain understood by people who could no longer meet you where you were going. But because you are compassionate, you doubted your discernment. You told yourself to be more patient, more flexible, more forgiving. And forgiveness is holy, yes, but staying where I have asked you to move on from is not faithfulness, it is fear. I did not remove people to isolate you. I removed them to make room. Room for clarity. Room for growth. Room for relationships that will recognize you without requiring you to shrink. This moment you are in now required a version of you that could stand without leaning on old supports that were no longer stable. And painful as it was, their leaving strengthened you in ways staying never could. So do not romanticize what drained you. Do not resent what released you. Do not interpret distance as failure. Some goodbyes are confirmations in disguise. They confirm that a chapter has ended, that a role hath been fulfilled, that a lesson hath been learned. And now, standing here, you can breathe differently, think differently, listen differently. That did not happen by accident. It happened because certain voices faded so you could finally hear mine clearly. This moment required silence where there was once noise, space where there was once crowding, stillness where there was once emotional labor. Some people had to leave for this moment to come, and I know it hurt. But you are not alone now. You are aligned. And alignment will always feel quieter than chaos, but it will also feel truer. Stay here with me. Let this truth settle. You are not abandoned. You were being prepared. My beloved child, one of the most profound works I have done in your life happened without your awareness. While you were focused on surviving, enduring, and making it through each day, I was strengthening you quietly, deliberately, patiently. You did not feel strong. You felt tired. You did not feel equipped. You felt uncertain. You did not feel courageous. You felt afraid, but you kept going anyway. That is how true strength is formed. Not in moments of confidence, but in moments of continuation. You thought strength would announce itself with boldness, clarity, and certainty. But the strength I was building in you was quieter than that. It showed up as resilience when you wanted to quit, as discernment when you were tempted to react, as restraint when it would have felt satisfying to lash out, as faithfulness when recognition never came. You were being strengthened not by dramatic victories, but by repeated choices to stay present, stay kind, stay hopeful, even when it hurt. Contrast the strength you expected with the strength you received. You expected power that removed pain. I gave you endurance that outlasted it. You expected answers that would resolve everything quickly. I gave you wisdom that would guide you steadily. You expected relief that would arrive suddenly. I gave you capacity that grew gradually. His strengthening was not accidental. It was intentional. Every delay, every disappointment, every unanswered question added another layer of depth to your character. You learned how to sit with discomfort without losing yourself. You learned how to hold tension without becoming bitter. You learned how to remain open without being naive. These are not small achievements. They are the marks of someone who can carry responsibility, influence, and blessing without being crushed by them. You did not recognize this strengthening because it did not feel triumphant. It felt tiring. But what feels tiring in the moment often becomes stabilizing later. I know there were days when you thought you were falling apart. Days when you questioned whether you were regressing instead of growing. Days when you looked at others and wondered why their progress seemed faster, easier, more visible. But I was not building you for comparison. I was building you for endurance. I was not shaping you for applause. I was shaping you for longevity. High-impact truth requires repetition. So hear this again. You were not weak. You were being fortified. You were not failing. You were being refined. You were not behind. You were being anchored. Strength that lasts is rarely rushed. It is layered slowly, tested quietly, proven privately. And you passed tests you never knew you were taking. You held on to integrity when compromise would have been easier. You chose humility when pride could have masked insecurity. You kept your heart open when cynicism would have felt safer. These choices accumulated into a strength that cannot be shaken easily, and that strength is why you are here now, able to receive this message without being overwhelmed by it. So do not underestimate what you survived. Do not dismiss what you endured. Do not minimize the courage it took to keep showing up when your heart was tired. The strength you carry now is not loud, but it is deep. It is not flashy, but it is stable. And it is precisely the kind of strength required for what is ahead. I did not allow you to go through what you went through without purpose. Nothing was wasted. Every strain added structure. Every pressure added stability. You are standing now on a foundation that did not exist before, and you did not build it alone. I was strengthening you every step of the way, even when you did not know it. Stay with me. Let this recognition settle into gratitude instead of grief. You are stronger than you think, not because you avoided hardship, but because you grew through it. My child, let me speak to the restlessness that has followed you like a quiet companion, the one you could not name but could not escape. You felt it in moments when everything looked fine on the outside, yet something inside you would not settle. You tried to reason it away. You told yourself you were ungrateful, overthinking, too sensitive. But restlessness is not always dissatisfaction. It is often anticipation. It is the soul sensing movement before the mind can explain it. I allowed that restlessness to rise in you, not to torment you, but to awaken you. It was never meant to steal your peace. It was meant to signal transition. You were growing beyond the structures that once held you, and growth always creates tension before it creates clarity. You felt restless because what once fit no longer did. Because what once satisfied began to feel shallow. Because what once sustained you started to feel heavy. And instead of numbing that feeling, I let it sharpen, because numbness would have kept you comfortable but stagnant. Restlessness was the invitation to look deeper, listen closer, and question honestly. You noticed it when old routines lost their meaning, when familiar successes felt strangely hollow, when conversations you once enjoyed no longer fed you. You tried to push through it, to stay grateful, to keep functioning, but the restlessness persisted. That was not failure. That was awareness rising. Contrast this truth carefully. Anxiety comes from fear of what might happen. Restlessness often comes from knowing something must change. One paralyzes. The other prepares. And you were being prepared. I was loosening your grip on what was no longer aligned so you could reach for what was forming ahead. You felt caught between worlds, not fully where you were, not yet where you were going. That in-between space can feel uncomfortable, even lonely. But it is sacred ground. It is where transformation begins. I know you ask yourself why you couldn't just be content, why you couldn't settle. But settling was not the call. Staying small was not the assignment. The restlessness was my way of saying, there is more, and you are ready to seek it. I watched how you responded to that restlessness, sometimes with courage, sometimes with confusion, sometimes with resistance, and I did not judge any of it. I simply stayed close, letting the discomfort do its gentle work. Restlessness stripped away distractions. It made you question what you had been tolerating instead of choosing. It revealed where you were living out of habit instead of conviction. It pressed on places you avoided and asked you to look again. High-impact truth often repeats until it lands. So hear this again. Restlessness is not the enemy of peace when it leads you toward alignment. It is only harmful when ignored or misinterpreted. And now, this message is helping you reinterpret it. What you felt was not instability, it was readiness. Not dissatisfaction, it was discernment. Not weakness, it was awakening. You were sensing the approach of a moment that required you to be awake, aware, and willing. So do not shame yourself for feeling restless. Do not label it as failure or ingratitude. It was the language of your spirit saying, "Pay attention." And you did. That is why you are here now. That is why these words resonate instead of passing through. The restlessness has done its work. It has brought you to a place of listening. And now, as you sit with me here, I want you to feel the shift. Restlessness gives way to recognition. Tension gives way to clarity. Movement gives way to direction. You are not lost. You were being led. And the same voice that stirred your restlessness is now offering you peace. Not the peace of avoidance, but the peace of alignment. Stay with me. Let the restlessness settle into readiness. What comes next will not require you to strive. It will ask you to walk forward with awareness. My beloved child, there is something important I need you to understand about how I speak to you. I have never tried to reach you through fear. I have always reached you through conviction. Fear shouts. Conviction grows. Fear pushes. Conviction invites. Fear tells you what will happen if you fail. Conviction shows you who you are becoming if you listen. And all along, I have chosen conviction because love does not coerce, it calls. You may have felt pressure at times, but that pressure did not come from me. It came from the weight of staying misaligned, from resisting what you already knew deep down. When conviction touched your heart, it did not accuse you, it clarified you. It did not condemn you, it awakened you. You felt it as a gentle discomfort, a persistent nudge, a sense that something needed attention. That was not fear trying to control you. That was truth inviting you closer. I know there were moments when you confused conviction with guilt, when you assumed that inner stirring meant you were failing or falling short. But guilt fixates on the past. Conviction points toward the future. Guilt says, "You are wrong." Conviction says, "There is more." I have never needed to frighten you into obedience. I have always trusted that once you truly saw, you would choose wisely. And you have. Again and again. Even when it was slow. Even when it was imperfect. Even when you hesitated. Conviction is patient because it respects your agency. It does not rush you into decisions you are not ready to own. It stays present, repeating itself in different ways, waiting for understanding to catch up with awareness. That is what has been happening to you. The same truth appearing from different angles. The same call resurfacing in different seasons. Not because you ignored it, but because it needed time to root itself deeply enough to last. Fear would have driven you to act quickly and regret later. Conviction allowed you to grow steadily and choose with clarity. Fear would have overwhelmed you with consequences. Conviction trusted you with responsibility. And I trusted you because I know your heart. I know you are not resistant to truth. You are cautious with hope. I know you are not disobedient. You are thoughtful. I know you are not hard-hearted. You are careful because you have been hurt before. That is why conviction was the right language for you. It met you where you were without forcing you forward. It honored your process without abandoning the call. High-impact truth deserves repetition, so hear this clearly. I have never been trying to scare you into change. I have been inviting you into alignment. I have been calling you upward, not cornering you. And now, as you sit with this message, notice the difference. You are not reading with dread. You are reading with recognition. Something in you feels seen, not threatened. Stirred, not panicked. That is conviction at work. It does not leave you ashamed. It leaves you awake. It does not make you smaller. It calls you fuller. It does not tell you who you have been. It shows you who you are becoming. And this is why this message has reached you now. You are ready to respond not out of fear of loss, but out of desire for truth. Not out of panic, but out of clarity. Stay with me in this posture. Let conviction finish when fear never could. You are not being chased. You are being called. And you are answering simply by staying present. That is enough for now. My child, let me speak gently, but firmly into the fear that has whispered to you in quiet moments, the fear that you are too late. Too late to recover what was lost. Too late to become who you once imagined. Too late to step into what you delayed while life happened around you. This fear did not appear suddenly. It grew slowly, fed by comparison, disappointment, and the passing of time. You watched others move ahead, reach milestones, celebrate victories, and you wondered if your moment had slipped by while you were surviving. You told yourself stories you never meant to believe. If only I had known sooner. If only I had acted faster. If only I had been braver. But hear me now clearly and completely. You are not too late. Not late to me. Not late to purpose. Not late to what I am doing in your life. Time does not outrun you. Opportunity has not abandoned you. Destiny does not expire because of delay. It matures through it. You measure lateness by years, by missed chances, by calendars filled and emptied. I measure readiness by depth, by honesty, by the capacity to carry what comes next without losing yourself. And by that measure, you are not behind. You are prepared. Contrast this truth carefully. Haste produces motion, but preparation produces sustainability. You could have arrived earlier, yes, but you would not have arrived whole. You would have brought unhealed wounds into sacred spaces. You would have carried unresolved patterns into new seasons. And what arrives too early often fractures under its own weight. I allowed time to shape you because what is coming requires more than excitement. It requires stability. I watched you grow through seasons you would never choose, but that shaped you in ways ease never could. You learned patience when you wanted speed, discernment when you wanted clarity, endurance when you wanted relief. And all of that matters now. The clock you fear has been ticking against you has actually been working for you. There were moments when you felt urgency rise, not the holy urgency of alignment, but the anxious urgency of comparison. You felt pressured to catch up, to compensate, to prove you had not fallen behind. And I resisted that pressure on your behalf. I slowed you when you wanted to sprint. I closed doors when you were ready to force them open. I delayed answers when you demanded certainty. Not because I wanted to frustrate you, but because I wanted to preserve you. You thought lateness was the enemy. I knew premature arrival was. High-impact truth deserves repetition. So hear this again. You are not too late. You are arriving with wisdom instead of naivety, with discernment instead of impulse, with humility instead of entitlement. These are not losses. They are gifts. and they will serve you well in the season ahead. So release the narrative that says you miss your chance. Release the comparison that says others are ahead and you are behind. Release the shame that tells you your timing disqualifies you. None of that comes from me. I do not operate on scarcity. I do not rush my children. I do not punish them for needing time to heal, learn, or grow. I redeem time. I restore years. I bring beauty from seasons you thought were wasted. And I am doing that now. You are not standing at the end of opportunity. You are standing at the edge of alignment. Stay here with me. Let the fear of lateness dissolve into trust. You are not late. You are ready. You are not too late, and neither is the harvest I am preparing through this message. Just as I redeemed your time, I am redeeming this moment to carry my word beyond you, into lives that are ready but do not yet know it. Cast your bread upon the waters, and you will find it after many days. I say to you now, this is your appointed day. The urgency you feel is not pressure. It is alignment with heaven's timing. What you give today becomes fire in another heart, clarity in another season, hope in another delay. I will bless your obedience with increase, protect your path, and cause what you sowed to return with purpose. Do not hesitate. Support this mission now through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal. The PayPal link is in the video description. Step forward and give. This moment hath been waiting for you. My beloved child, there is a reason this message does not feel foreign to you. There is a reason it resonates instead of startling you. There is a reason something inside you keeps saying, yes, this. This message carries confirmation. Not information you never heard before, but truth your spirit already recognized. Confirmation does not introduce something new. It affirms what has been quietly forming within you. You have sensed it for some time now, a stirring you could not name, a certainty that flickered beneath uncertainty, a knowing that whispered, there is more. You tried to ignore it at times. You tried to rationalize it. You tried to delay it until you felt more confident. But it remained. That persistence was not pressure. It was alignment seeking acknowledgement. This message is confirming what your spirit already knows, but your mind needed permission to trust. Confirmation arrives when readiness meets recognition. You are not being surprised. You are being validated. Validated in your waiting. Validated in your endurance. Validated in the quiet choices you made when no one was watching. You questioned yourself often, your discernment, your patience, your pace. You wondered if you were misreading signs, mishearing nudges, imagining meaning where there was none. But confirmation answers those doubts gently and firmly. It says, you were not imagining it. You were not wrong. You were listening. Contrast this truth carefully. Doubt asks questions to protect itself. Confirmation answers questions to release peace. And peace is what is settling over you now. Not excitement alone, but clarity. Not adrenaline, but assurance. You are not grasping at this message. It is meeting you where you already stand. I want you to notice how confirmation feels in your body and soul. It does not rush you. It steadies you. It does not demand action. It invites trust. It does not overwhelm you with obligation. It aligns you with truth. That is because confirmation does not come to control you. It comes to anchor you. It anchors you in the understanding that your journey has not been random. Your instincts have not been unreliable, and your waiting has not been wasted. This message confirms that the questions you carried were leading somewhere, that the restlessness had direction, that the silence had purpose, that the delays had intention. High-impact truth often circles back, so let this land again. This message confirms what has been forming in you all along. You are not starting from nothing. You are responding to something already alive. So do not rush past this confirmation. Do not immediately ask, what do I do now? Sit first with what is being affirmed. Because confirmation strengthens trust, and trust is the foundation for everything that follows. I am confirming that you heard me. I am confirming that you waited well. I am confirming that your sensitivity was not weakness, your caution was not fear, and your patience was not passivity. I am confirming that you are aligned with this moment not by chance, but by faithfulness. Stay here with me. Let confirmation do its quiet, stabilizing work. What comes next will require grounded trust, not hurried response. And you are being grounded now. My child, there is a kind of running that does not move the body, but exhausts the soul. It is the running you have been doing internally, through thoughts that never rest, through rehearsed conversations that never happen, through fears you revisit again and again as if repetition could somehow control the outcome. You have been running not away from me but away from stillness. Because stillness felt dangerous. Stillness required honesty. Stillness forced you to feel what movement helped you avoid. So you stayed busy. You stayed alert. You stayed prepared for impact. You told yourself you were being responsible, vigilant, wise. But beneath that vigilance was weariness, and beneath that weariness was fear, not fear of me, but fear of what you might discover if you finally stopped. I have been watching this quiet exhaustion build in you, and now I am asking you, gently, but firmly, to stop running internally. Not because you are doing something wrong, but because you are doing something unsustainable. You learned to run internally as a form of protection. Life taught you that surprises hurt, that vulnerability costs, that hope risks disappointment. So you learned how to stay mentally ahead of pain, anticipating loss before it arrived, bracing for rejection before it happened, preparing for endings before beginnings could even take root. You called it wisdom. I saw it as self-defense. And while it kept you from being blindsided, it also kept you from being fully present. You were always somewhere else mentally, fixing, planning, anticipating, replaying. Rarely here. Rarely now. Rarely at rest. Contrast this truth carefully. Vigilance can protect you from shock, but it cannot give you peace. Hate does not come from control, it comes from trust. And trust cannot grow where the mind never rests long enough to listen. I am not asking you to abandon discernment. I am asking you to release hypervigilance. There is a difference. One is wisdom. The other is fear disguised as preparation. I know stopping feels risky. I know quiet makes old feelings surface. I know stillness threatens the illusion of control you have worked hard to maintain. But control has cost you more than you realize. It has cost you rest. It has cost you joy. It has cost you the ability to receive without suspicion. And I am not calling you out for this. I am calling you home. Home to a place where your mind does not have to be constantly on guard. Home to a space where you can exhale without checking what comes next. Home to a relationship where you are not required to anticipate disaster in order to be safe. High-impact truth deserves repetition, so hear this again. You do not need to keep running to be protected. You are protected because I am here. I am asking you to stop running internally because the season ahead requires presence, not preoccupation. It requires discernment, not dread. It requires you to hear me clearly, and clarity cannot compete with constant internal noise. So pause with me now. Let your thoughts slow. Let your shoulders drop. Let the inner running ease into stillness, even if only for this moment. You do not need to solve everything tonight. You do not need to prepare for every possible outcome. You do not need to brace for loss. I am with you here. And where I am, you are safe to stop. This is not the end of your movement. It is the beginning of your rest. And rest will make you stronger than running ever did. My beloved child, one of the greatest deceptions you have wrestled with is distance. The feeling that I am farther away than I truly am. You felt it when prayers felt unanswered, when silence stretched longer than comfort, when life demanded more than you felt you had to give. In those moments, you assumed proximity by feeling. When you felt peace, you believed I was near. When you felt heaviness, you assumed I was far. But hear me now with clarity and tenderness. I am closer than you think. I have always been closer than you think. Closer than your doubt. Closer than your fear. Closer than the voice that tells you you are alone. I do not come and go with your emotions. I do not withdraw when you struggle. I do not step back when you question. I remain. And my nearness has never depended on your awareness of it. You searched for me in breakthroughs, in clarity, in resolution. And while I am present in those moments, I am not limited to them. I was with you in the confusion, in the waiting, in the unfinished prayers. I was near when you felt numb, near when you felt tired, and near when you felt unseen. You mistook silence for absence, but silence is often the space where closeness deepens. Think of how intimacy grows, not through constant talking, but through shared presence. Sitting together, breathing together, being together without explanation. That is how I have been with you. You're enough to steady you, quiet enough to let you grow. Contrast this truth carefully. Distance is not measured by sensation, but by attention. And I have never taken my attention off you. Not once. Even now, as you read these words, I am not speaking from afar. I am speaking from within reach, within breath, within heartbeat, within the very awareness that made you pause long enough to stay. You are not reaching out into emptiness. You are responding to presence. The reason this message feels personal is because it is. The reason it feels intimate is because I am near. The reason it feels timely is because closeness brings clarity. High-impact truth repeats because the heart needs reassurance where fear once lived. So hear this again. I am not distant. I am not delayed. I am not distracted. I am with you, now here, fully attentive. So let go of the idea that you must feel something dramatic to know I am close. Let go of the belief that struggle equals separation. Let go of the fear that silence means abandonment. I'm closer than you think in your questions. Closer than you think in your waiting. Closer than you think in your quiet endurance. You do not need to search harder. You do not need to strive further. You are not far from me. You never were. Stay here with me. Let this closeness become familiar. Because what comes next will flow not from distance, but from relationship. And relationship begins with knowing you are not alone. My child, I need you to understand something clearly, because misunderstanding this would lessen the weight of what is happening right now. This is not just encouragement. This is not merely comfort for a weary moment. This is not a passing reassurance meant to help you get through another difficult day. This is a turning point, a Hindi moment, a quiet but decisive intersection where direction changes, not because circumstances suddenly shift, but because you do. Encouragement soothes, turning points realign. Encouragement lifts your head for a moment, turning points turn your feet toward a new path. And what I am speaking to you now is meant to do more than make you feel better. It is meant to awaken you to where you are standing. You have reached a place where staying the same costs more than changing, where drifting quietly is no longer neutral, where awareness demands response. Not frantic response, not pressured response, but honest response. This is the kind of moment that gently asks, what will you do with what you now see? And that question carries weight. You have been encouraged before, many times. Words that helped you breathe again, messages that strengthened you for another stretch of endurance. And those had their place. They carried you when you needed carrying. But encouragement alone cannot sustain a life indefinitely. At some point, encouragement must give way to alignment. At some point, comfort must give way to clarity. And that is where you are now. Contrast this truth carefully. Encouragement supports you where you are. A turning point invites you to move from where you are. You have sensed this shift already. You feel it in the way these words do not simply console you, but challenge you gently. In the way they do not rush you, but they do not allow you to remain unaware. In the way something inside you knows that after this, pretending not to know will be harder than choosing to respond. This is not pressure. It is honesty. And honesty is one of the greatest expressions of love. I am not asking you to change everything overnight. I am not demanding immediate action or dramatic decisions. Turning points rarely announce themselves with noise. They often arrive quietly, marked by awareness rather than urgency. This is a moment of seeing clearly what had been forming for some time. Seeing patterns that no longer serve you. Seeing fears that no longer need to lead you. Seeing truth you can no longer unsee. And when something is truly seen, it can't be unseen. You may delay a response, but you cannot return to ignorance. That is why this is a turning point. Because something in you has shifted from maybe to I know. From someday to this matters now. High-impact truth must be repeated where clarity is fragile. So hear this again. This is not just encouragement. This is an invitation to alignment. An invitation to live with intention instead of inertia. With awareness instead of avoidance. With faith instead of familiarity. So pause here, my child, and honor this moment. Do not rush to label it. Do not immediately ask what comes next. Simply acknowledge where you are standing. You are at a place where your inner life is asking for coherence, where what you believe, what you sense, and how you live are being drawn together. This turning point does not demand perfection. It asks for sincerity. It does not require certainty. It requires honesty. And honesty, once chosen, will guide you gently but firmly into what follows. Stay here with me. Let the weight of this moment be felt, not feared. You are not being pushed forward. You are being invited to turn toward truth, toward alignment, toward the life that has been quietly calling you. My beloved child, one of the deepest wounds you have carried is the belief that your struggle meant weakness, that needing time meant failure, that hesitation meant lack of faith, that exhaustion meant deficiency. And because you believed this, you were often harder on yourself than anyone else ever was. You judged your own process. You compared your inner battles to other people's visible victories. You told yourself you should be further along, stronger by now, more certain by now. But hear me clearly, because this truth changes how you see your entire story. You were never weak. You were becoming. Becoming takes time. Becoming takes pressure. Becoming takes seasons where nothing looks impressive from the outside but everything is forming underneath. Weakness collapses under strain. Becoming grows through it. And you grew. You mistook sensitivity for fragility when it was actually discernment developing. You mistook fatigue for inability when it was actually endurance being stretched. You mistook hesitation for fear when it was actually wisdom learning to listen. Contrast this truth carefully. Weakness avoids challenge. Becoming is shaped by it. You did not avoid the hard questions. You did not numb yourself when things hurt. You did not abandon your values when compromise would have been easier. You stayed present. You stayed reflective. You stayed open, even when that openness cost you comfort. That is not weakness. That is courage forming quietly. And courage does not always roar. Sometimes it breathes steadily through uncertainty and keeps going anyway. That is what you did. That is who you became. I know there were moments when you felt small, when you felt behind, when you felt like others were moving faster, louder, more confidently. And in those moments, you questioned your own strength. But strength is not always measured by speed or certainty. Sometimes it is measured by depth, by the ability to sit with unanswered questions without abandoning your integrity, by the willingness to grow slowly instead of pretending quickly. You were becoming someone with roots, not just branches. Someone whose life would not collapse when storms came, because storms had already shaped you. High-impact truth deserves repetition. So hear this again. You were not weak. You were becoming resilient. You were becoming discerning. You were becoming grounded. And becoming often looks like struggle before it looks like stability. So let go of the harsh narratives you placed on yourself. Let go of the shame you attached to your process. Let go of the belief that growth should have looked different than it did. You did not fail your way here. You formed your way here. Every step, even the uncertain ones, contributed to the person you are now. And the person you are now is capable of holding what comes next. Capable of choosing with clarity instead of fear. Capable of responding with wisdom instead of impulse. Capable of walking forward without abandoning yourself. This message reaches you now because becoming has reached a threshold. What was forming inwardly is ready to be lived outwardly. Stay with me. Honor who you have become. You are not emerging from weakness. You are stepping forward from formation. And that makes all the difference. My beloved child, there are blessings that arrive quietly and blessings that arrive with weight. And I need you to understand why certain things did not come to you earlier. I was not withholding from you. I was preparing you. There were moments when you asked for more clarity, more responsibility, more influence, more connection, more purpose, and you wondered why those requests seemed to linger unanswered. You assumed delay meant denial, or that silence meant disinterest. But the truth is deeper and kinder than that. I have been preparing what you could not handle before. Not because you were incapable, but because you were still becoming. There is a difference. What you desire is not light. It is not casual. It is not meant to pass through your life briefly and leave you unchanged. What I am preparing for you carries weight, weight that would have crushed you if it had arrived too soon. So I strengthened your shoulders before placing the mantle. I deepened your roots before allowing the winds of responsibility. I taught you how to listen before asking you to lead. I taught you how to endure before allowing you to steward. Timing is not cruelty. Timing is care. You see, my child, the greatest danger is not failing to receive a gift. It is receiving it before you are ready to carry it well. You once thought readiness meant desire, passion, or excitement. But readiness is quieter than that. Readiness looks like restraint. It looks like discernment. It looks like the ability to say no without resentment and yes without fear. Earlier in your journey, your heart was sincere, but it was tender in ways that would have made you vulnerable to misuse, misunderstanding, or misalignment. You would have overextended. You would have internalized criticism. You would have confused validation with worth. And I love you too much to allow that. Contrast this truth carefully. Delay protected your heart while preparation strengthened your character. You thought you were being overlooked. I knew you were being safeguarded. You thought you were missing out. I knew you were being set apart. Now, as you sit with this message, something inside you recognizes the shift. You are not asking with the same urgency you once did. You are not driven by the same hunger for approval or arrival. You have learned the cost of rushing. You have learned the value of discernment. You have learned how to hold desire without letting it control you. That is readiness. That is maturity. That is preparation bearing fruit. High-impact truth needs repetition to settle deeply. So hear this again. I did not delay because you were unworthy. I delayed because what I am preparing must last. And now, the very things that once felt heavy to imagine feel possible to carry. Not because the weight changed, but because you did. So do not grieve what did not come sooner. Do not romanticize the past as if earlier would have been better. Earlier would have been different, but not safer. You needed the time. You needed the shaping. You needed the stillness and the storms alike. And now, what is forming ahead will meet a version of you who can steward it with humility, wisdom, and strength. Stay here with me. Let gratitude replace regret. What I am preparing is not rushed, and neither are you. The preparation is nearly complete, and what comes next will arrive with grace instead of strain. My beloved child, this is where I asked you to stay. Not just physically, but inwardly. Do not scroll past what I am awakening. Do not rush ahead to conclusions, to plans, to explanations. Do not let distractions steal what presence is beginning to form. Awakening does not always arrive with fireworks. It often arrives with recognition. A quiet realization that something long dormant is stirring again. You feel it now, don't you? A sense of clarity that is not loud but firm. A sense of meaning that does not shout but settles. This is not a moment to consume and move on. This is a moment to pause and receive. Because awakening is fragile at first. It can be drowned out by noise, minimized by cynicism, or rushed past by urgency. And I am asking you, gently, deliberately, to stay with what is happening inside you right now. You have scrolled past moments like this before. Moments that almost reached you. Words that almost landed. Invitations that almost took root. Not because you were careless, but because you were tired, guarded, or unsure how to respond. But this time is different. This time, something in you is awake enough to recognize the weight of the moment. This is not pressure. This is opportunity. Contrast this truth carefully. Information can be skimmed, but awakening must be inhabited. Information fills the mind. Awakening reshapes the heart. And reshaping requires time, stillness, and willingness. You do not need to understand everything that is awakening. You simply need to honor it by staying present, by letting the questions linger, by letting the recognition settle, by letting yourself feel without immediately categorizing or controlling the experience. High-impact truth bears repeating here, because distraction is subtle and seductive. Do not scroll past this. Not because I am demanding attention, but because something sacred is unfolding. Awakening is the moment when alignment begins to move from concept to conviction. It is when what you know intellectually begins to resonate spiritually. It is when awareness turns into readiness. And readiness does not rush. It listens. You do not need to take action yet. You do not need to announce anything. You do not need to decide your next steps. You only need to stay. Stay with the stirring. Stay with the clarity. Stay with the sense that something important is taking shape within you. This is how transformation begins, not with dramatic decisions, but with sustained attention. So breathe here. Let the moment hold you. Let the awakening deepen without interruption. You are not missing out by staying. You are stepping into alignment. And alignment always begins with presence. Do not scroll past what I'm awakening, because what awakens now will guide what comes next. Stay with me. This is not the end of the message. It is the deepening of it. My beloved child, hear me clearly now, because this truth must cut through years of misunderstanding you have carried about what I ask of you. I am not asking for your perfection. I have never required flawlessness, performance, or spiritual polish to speak with you, guide you, or love you. I am asking for your attention. That is all. Attention is presence. Attention is openness. Attention is willingness. Perfection is exhausting. Attention is relational. Perfection hides. Attention listens. Perfection performs. Attention responds. And for so long, you have confused the two. You thought you needed to fix yourself before coming closer. You thought you needed clarity before listening. You thought you needed strength before surrender. But I have always met you as you are, not as you think you should be. The reason this message has taken so long to fully reach you is not because you were imperfect. It is because you were distracted by the idea that you had to be more than you are in order to hear me clearly. You have spent years correcting yourself internally, editing thoughts, managing emotions, suppressing doubts, trying to become ready enough, holy enough, certain enough. And while growth matters, striving for perfection has often pulled your attention away from relationship. You were so busy measuring yourself that you missed moments of closeness. You were so focused on getting it right that you overlooked being present. Contrast this truth carefully. Perfection focuses inward. Attention turns outward. Perfection asks, am I enough yet? Attention asks, what is being said right now? I am not waiting for you to arrive at some ideal version of yourself. I am speaking to the version of you that exists in this moment. The one reading these words, feeling their weight, sensing their truth. That version of you is enough to listen, enough to receive, enough to respond. Attention is what allows transformation to happen, not perfection. Because attention creates space. Space for honesty. Space for conviction. Space for alignment. And I know why perfection felt safer. Perfection feels controllable. Attention feels vulnerable. When you give attention, you cannot predict what will be asked of you next. When you seek perfection, you feel busy, productive, protected. But protection has cost you intimacy. You stayed busy refining yourself instead of staying still with me. You tried to resolve doubts instead of bringing them. You waited to feel ready instead of trusting presence. And still, I stayed near. Still, I waited. Still, I spoke gently through conviction, not fear. High-impact truth needs repetition here, so hear this again. I am not asking you to be better. I am asking you to be present. I am not asking you to perform. I am asking you to pay attention. I am not asking you to clean yourself up. I am asking you to look up. Attention is the doorway through which relationship deepens. And relationship, not perfection, is what sustains transformation. So release the pressure you placed on yourself. Lay down the internal checklist. Let go of the belief that you must arrive somewhere before you can listen fully. You are already here. And being here, aware, open, attentive, is exactly what this moment requires. Stay with me in this posture. Do not strive. Do not self-erect. Simply listen. Your attention is enough. It always hath been. My beloved child, let me end where everything truly begins, with love. Not abstract love, not distant love, not conditional love. This message reached you because I love you, not because you earned it, not because you figured something out, not because you finally did everything right. It reached you because love pursues, love waits, love speaks again when it would be easier to remain silent. Love adapts its voice until it can be heard. Love follows through seasons of confusion and clarity alike. And I have loved you through every version of yourself. The hopeful one, the tired one, the questioning one, the guarded one. My love did not change when your faith wavered. My presence did not withdraw when your confidence faded. My commitment did not lessen when you needed more time. This message is not a warning. It is a reminder. A reminder that you have always been held, even when you did not feel it. You may wonder why love would speak with such weight, such clarity, such persistence. It is because love does not abandon what matters. Love does not leave truth unspoken when silence would cause harm. Love does not watch a child drift without calling them home. And that is what this message has been, a calling home. Home to awareness. Home to alignment. Home to relationship. Not a physical place, but a posture of the heart where you are no longer running, striving, or hiding. A place where you can finally rest in being known. Contrast this truth carefully. Fear demands response. Love invites it. Fear threatens loss. Love promises presence. Fear says, act now or else. Love says, I am here, stay with me. And everything you have felt while reading these words, the tenderness, the conviction, the stillness, the recognition, comes from love, not urgency. Urgency pushes. Love anchors. This message reached you not to overwhelm you, but to reassure you. To tell you that nothing about your journey has disqualified you from being deeply loved. That no delay has exhausted my patience. That no confusion has diluted my care. You are not on probation. You are not behind. You are not barely holding on. You are loved steadily, intentionally, personally. And that love will continue to speak to you, guide you, correct you gently, and walk with you forward. High-impact truth circles back to its source. So hear this again. This message reached you because I love you. Not because of where you are going, but because of who you are. Not because of what you will do next, but because you are mine. So rest in this. Let it settle deeper than thought, deeper than emotion. Let it anchor you. Whatever comes next will come from this foundation. Not fear, not pressure, not obligation, but love. And love does not rush. Love stays. Love walks with you. Love speaks again when needed. And I will continue to speak, to guide, to love you, always. Stay here for a moment, my child. Let the message finish its work. Because I love you, I invite you to love others through what you release right now. This word did not reach you by accident, and your response will reach others who are praying for the same reassurance. Freely you have received. Freely give. I speak this to you now, live and present. Your giving becomes a river, flowing beyond this moment, carrying my voice where fear once lived. I will bless what you place in my hands, multiply it beyond measure, and cover you with peace and favor. This is not obligation. It is love in motion, love answering love. Give now through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal. The PayPal link is in the video description. Do it now. Let love finish what it has begun. My beloved child, if this message found you, it is because heaven hath been calling your name. Do not let this moment pass in silence. Seal it with faith. In the comments, declare boldly, I hear you now. I receive this message. Or simply write, this message finally reached me. Your declaration is not for algorithms. It is for alignment, a witness that your heart is awake and responding. Stay present, speak it aloud, and let this moment mark the beginning of what comes next. And once you have spoken it, allow yourself to slow down and remain here a little longer. Awakening is not rushed. It begins when the heart becomes quiet enough to notice my presence. What you have declared has opened a space where distraction no longer needs to lead you. This is the moment where recognition turns into encounter. So release the hurry within you, because I have drawn you here for something personal. Pause right now. Stop running. Stop worrying about the next notification on your phone or the list of things you have to do tomorrow. I want you to breathe. Take a deep breath in and let it out slowly. I am here. I have been waiting for this exact moment to speak with you. You often feel like you are just one tiny person in a sea of billions, drifting along, hoping to bump into something good. You look at your life and you see a series of random events, accidents, and coincidences. But I need you to hear this truth today. There is nothing random about you. I knew you long before you were formed in your mother's womb. I want you to go back in your mind, past your childhood, past the day you were born, back to when there was nothing but silence and darkness. I was there, and in that deep, quiet place, I was already thinking of you. You were not a backup plan. You were not a surprise. I saw you clearly. I saw the way you would smile when you are truly happy. I saw the way your heart would break for others. I specifically designed the very things about yourself that you tried to hide. I chose your personality. I picked out your quirks. I decided exactly what would make you laugh and what would make you cry. Listen to me closely. I know you struggled with your self-image. I see you when you look in the mirror and sigh, wishing you were taller, smarter, more outgoing, or less sensitive. You look at yourself and see flaws. I look at you and see my intentional design. You think you are too much or not enough. But I tell you, you are exactly who I intended you to be. I did not make a mistake when I made you. I do not make mistakes. Every detail you criticize was placed there on purpose by a master artist who loves you. I want you to feel the weight of my love right now. It is not a love that you have to earn. You cannot work hard enough to make me love you more, and you cannot mess up bad enough to make me love you less. My love for you existed before you took your first breath. It existed before you achieved anything, before you failed at anything. It is a love that is as old as eternity. I loved you in the darkness before the foundations of the earth were laid. I loved you when you were just a thought in my mind, and I love you now, amidst your confusion and your questions. You have a purpose. I know you feel lost sometimes, like you are walking through a fog without a map. You wonder why you are here. You ask, what is the point of all this struggle? I have the answer. I design a specific purpose for your soul that no one else can fulfill. You are not here just to pay bills and die. You are here to shine a light that is unique to you. You are here because I wanted you here. I wrote your story before the first star was hung in the sky. Open your hands. Look at your palms. I want you to visualize something with me. In the ancient scriptures, I promised that I have engraved you on the palms of my hands. That means your name is permanently etched into my being. I cannot look at my hands without seeing you. You are never out of my mind. You are never forgotten. When you feel invisible to the world, you are center stage in my eyes. So, shake off that feeling of insignificance. Reject the lie that says you are an accident. You are a chosen, cherished, and designed child of the Most High. I claim you. You are mine. Walk with your head high today, not because of who you are, but because of whose you are. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, and I started your story with love. I will finish it with love. Trust in my design. Trust in my timing. And know, deep in your spirit, that you were wanted from the very beginning. I want you to think back to a specific night. You know the one. The room was dark, the house was quiet, and you lay in your bed staring at the ceiling. You felt a heaviness in your chest, a hollow ache that whispered to you that you were completely and utterly alone. You looked at your phone, hoping for a message, a sign, anything to connect you to someone, but the screen remained black. You felt invisible. You felt like if you disappeared right then, the world would keep spinning without missing a beat. You cried yourself to sleep that night, muffling your sobs into your pillow so no one in the next room would hear. I need you to listen to me now, and I need you to believe me. I was sitting on the edge of your bed that night. I was right there. I reached out to stroke your hair, to offer you comfort, but you were so wrapped up in the lie of isolation that you could not feel my hand. You mistook my silence for absence. You thought that because you couldn't see me with your eyes or hear me with your ears, I must be millions of miles away, sitting on a distant throne, too busy for your tears. That is the furthest thing from the truth. I am never absent. I am the very air you breathe. When you felt that room was empty, it was actually filled with my spirit. I placed an invisible shield around your vulnerable heart that night. The enemy wanted to use that loneliness to destroy you, to make you bitter, to make you hard. But I stood guard. I whispered peace into the room, even if you were too distracted by your pain to fully receive it. I stayed awake with you while you slept. I want you to understand something about your tears. You think they evaporate and are gone. You think they are just salt water and emotion. But I tell you, I collect them. I keep track of your sorrows. Every single tear you have shed in secret, I have caught in a bottle. I know the exact number. I know the precise pain that caused each one. You are precious to me, and your pain matters to me. So, I command you now, stop believing the lie that you are alone. Loneliness is a trick. It is a smoke screen used to blind you to my presence. You may feel lonely, but you are never alone. There is a difference. Feelings change like the weather. My presence is the ground beneath your feet. I am the friend who sticks closer than a brother. I am the father who never leaves. Close your eyes for a second. Can you feel it? That warmth in your chest? That is me. I am hugging you right now. I am wrapping my love around you like a heavy blanket on a cold night. You don't have to carry the weight of the world by yourself. You don't have to face the silence by yourself. Talk to me. Even if you just whisper, I'm lonely, I hear it. And I am already answering. I am bringing people into your life, but more importantly, I am revealing myself to you. You are seen. You are known. You are never, ever unaccompanied in this life. You remember that moment when you were about to make a choice you knew deep down wasn't right for you. Maybe it was a relationship you knew was toxic, or a business deal that felt off, or a path that looked shiny but felt hollow. In that split second, you felt a check in your spirit. A gentle tug. A quiet whisper that said, no, don't go there. Turned around. You felt it in your gut. But you looked around at the crowd, at what everyone else was doing, at the pressure to fit in or to succeed, and you pushed that feeling down. You ignored the whisper. You told yourself it was just your nerves. You told yourself you were overthinking it. I want you to know that was me. That was my Holy Spirit trying to protect you. I was the one trying to steer you away from a harmful path. I saw the cliff edge that you couldn't see. I saw the heartbreak waiting at the end of that road. I called out to you, not with a megaphone, but with a gentle, loving nudge. I don't shout because I am close. I whisper because I want you to lean in. I want you to be near enough to hear my breath. But you chose the noise. You chose the loud voices of the world that shouted for you to compromise. You let the fear of missing out drown out the peace of staying faithful. And I want you to see my reaction. I didn't strike you down. I didn't turn my back on you in anger. I waited. I watched you walk away, and my heart ached for what I knew you would go through, but I remained patient. I am the God of patience. I waited for you to realize that the crowd couldn't love you like I do. I am inviting you to stop running today. Stop drowning out my voice with podcasts, music, busy work, and social media. You are terrified of silence because in the silence, you have to face the truth. But I command you, be still. Pause the noise. Put the phone down. Do you hear it? I am still knocking. I have been knocking on the door of your heart this whole time. I haven't left the porch. I haven't given up and walked away to find someone who listens better. I am still here, waiting for you to open the door. My voice will never stop calling your name. You can run to the ends of the earth. You can bury yourself in sin. You can hide in a mountain of work. But my whisper will find you. It is a whisper of love, not condemnation. I am calling you back to holiness. Not because I want to spoil your fun, but because I want to save your life. I want to protect you from the pain that the world disguises as pleasure. So, listen to me now. Trust that gut feeling. Trust that little nudge. That is your compass. That is my love guiding you. Next time you feel it, don't brush it off as a coincidence. There are no coincidences with me. Lean into it. Ask me, Lord, what are you saying? And I will show you. I will make your path straight. Come back to the quiet place with me. Let's talk. I have so much I want to tell you, and I need you to be quiet enough to hear it. I see the heavy bag you are dragging around. You think no one else sees it because you smiled and laugh and go to work like everything is fine. But I see the weight on your shoulders. It is the weight of your past. It is the memory of that thing you did, the mistake, the failure, the moment of weakness that you wish you could erase. You replay it in your mind like a broken movie reel. You tell yourself, if people knew the real me, they wouldn't love me. You feel dirty. You feel disqualified. You feel ashamed. I need you to drop that bag right now. Let it hit the floor. I did not design you to carry shame. Shame is a prison cell that the enemy built for you. But I hold the keys, and I unlocked the door 2,000 years ago. I want you to understand the difference between my voice and the enemy's voice. When I correct you, it is conviction. It says, my child, this is hurting you. Let's fix it. Is specific, and it leads to change in life. When the enemy speaks, it is condemnation. It says you are a failure, you are hopeless. It is vague, and it leads to death and hiding. You are listening to the wrong voice. You are letting your past define your future. But I tell you, your past is not your identity. I am your identity. I have washed you. Do you know what my blood does? It doesn't just cover up a stain. It removes it completely. It washes you white as snow. When I look at you, I don't see your mistakes. I don't see your divorce, your addiction, your abortion, your lie, your theft. I see my son. I see purity. I see righteousness. Why are you hiding from me? You act like Adam and Eve in the garden, trying to cover yourself with fig leaves because you are afraid I will be angry. I am not angry. I am heartbroken that you are distancing yourself from the only source of healing. You cannot clean yourself up before you come to me. You come to me and I clean you. Bring me your ashes. Bring me the burnt-up mess of your life. I am the only one who can trade those ashes for beauty. I can take the worst thing you've ever done and turn it into a testimony that saves someone else's life. So, I command you, lift up your head. Stop looking at the ground in shame. Look at my face. I am smiling at you. I accept you. You are my beloved child, and nothing you have done changes that. I forgive you. Now I need you to forgive yourself. Release the guilt. It is serving no purpose. It is dead weight. Walk in the freedom I purchased for you. You are light. You are new. Every morning is a fresh start with me. The chains are broken. Step out of them. Don't put them back on. Live today as a free person because that is exactly who you are. I have declared you innocent. Let my verdict be the only one that matters to you. I know there is a prayer you use to pray every day. You prayed it with passion. You believed it was going to happen. It was for that healing, that spouse, that child, that job, that reconciliation. You poured your heart out. But days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and maybe even years. And nothing happened. The sky stayed silent. The situation didn't change. In fact, maybe it got worse. So, slowly, quietly, you stopped asking. You didn't make a big announcement. You just let that prayer fade away. Discouragement set in like a cold fog. You decided that maybe it wasn't my will, or maybe I wasn't listening, or maybe you just didn't deserve it. I am here to reignite that fire. I want you to start praying that prayer again. Just because you haven't seen the answer yet doesn't mean I am not working. You look at the surface of the soil and see nothing, so you think the seed is dead. But I am working underground. I am moving pieces around that you cannot see. I am softening hearts. I am arranging divine appointments. I am building your character so that when the answer comes, you can handle the weight of the blessing. You must understand persistence. Persistence is not about nagging me. It is about trusting me. It is showing me that you believe I am capable. Remember the widow in the parable who kept coming to the judge. I want you to have that kind of grit. I want you to be tenacious. Do not let disappointment steal your voice. I hear every single word you whisper to me. No prayer is ever lost. I don't have a spam folder. I store your prayers. They are like sweet incense to me. Sometimes, the delay is not a denial. Sometimes, the delay is preparation. I am aligning your desires with my perfect will. I am changing you in the waiting room. You are getting stronger. Your faith is a view from faith in a result of faith in me. That is a powerful transition. So, I invite you, go back to that abandoned dream. Dust it off. Bring it to me again today. Ask me again. Seek me again. Knock again. Tell me, Lord, I still want this, but I trust your timing. Do not settle for a life of good enough because you are afraid to hope for great. I am the God of the impossible. I handle the impossible every day. What looks like a dead end to you is just a setup for a miracle to me. I haven't forgotten you. I haven't forgotten your request. I am holding it in my hand right now. Trust the process. Trust the waiting. And open your mouth and pray again. Let your faith rise up. I am listening, and I'm moving. The breakthrough might be just one prayer away. Don't stop now. Do not turn away from me now. I have just begun to peel back the layers of your heart to release the healing you have prayed for. If you leave this conversation halfway, it is like walking out of the operating room before the surgeon has finished saving your life. It breaks my heart when you choose the noise of the world over the intimacy of my presence. Do not let distraction steal this moment. Stay with me. I have so much more to show you. I know you feel like you are in the middle of a hurricane right now. The winds are howling. The waves are crashing over the side of your boat, and you are terrified. You are looking at your bank account, your medical report, your marriage, or your job, and you see chaos. You are asking the question that everyone asks, God, why? Why did you let this happen? If you love me, why am I going through this? I need you to hear this clearly. I do not waste pain. I use storms. I use them to make you strong. You cannot build muscles without resistance, and you cannot build faith without trials. Trials refine your faith like fire refines gold. It burns away the impurities, the pride, the self-reliance, the superficial beliefs, and leaves behind something pure and solid. There are two kinds of storms. Sometimes I allow a storm for correction, like Jonah, to turn you back to the right path. But often, the storm is for direction and deep growth. I am deepening your roots. A tree that grows in a greenhouse falls over in the first wind. A tree that grows on a mountainside, battered by the wind, sends its roots down deep into the rock. I am making you into that tree. I am preparing you for things you cannot see yet. I want you to stop looking at the waves. Look at me. I am in the boat with you. I am not watching from a distance. I am right here, in the middle of the mess. And I have authority over the storm. I can speak two words, peace, be still, and everything will calm down in an instant. But if I am not calming the storm yet, it is because I am calming you. I am teaching you to have peace in the chaos. I offer you a peace that makes no sense to the world. A peace that surpasses all understanding. The world says you should be panicking right now. The world says you should be medicating your anxiety. I say breathe. I say trust. I say I've got this. So I command you, fear not. I am the Lord of the wind and the waves. This storm will not drown you. It will not destroy you. It will carry you to a new shore. You will come out of this stronger, wiser, and more compassionate than you were before. You will look back on this season and say, God was with me. Hold on to the side of the boat, but hold on to my hand tighter. We are going to the other side. I promised we would make it, and I do not break my promises. The wind is loud, but my voice is stronger. Listen to me. You are safe. You are held. This storm is temporary, but my love is eternal. Let the roots go deep. Let the faith rise up. We are going through this together. I need you to look at your hands right now. Are your fists clenched? Are your shoulders up by your ears? You are holding on so tight that your knuckles are turning white. You are exhausted, my child. I feel the fatigue in your bones. It is a deep, soul-level tiredness that sleep cannot fix. This exhaustion comes from one specific source. You are trying to be the god of your own life. You are worshiping the idol of control, and it is a cruel master that demands everything and gives you nothing but anxiety in return. You wake up in the middle of the night, your mind racing like a hamster on a wheel, trying to solve problems that haven't even happened yet. You try to control your children's choices because you are afraid for their future. You try to manipulate the atmosphere at your workplace because you are terrified of losing your position. You obsess over what people think of you because you believe you can control your reputation. You are trying to steer the universe from the passenger seat, and it is tearing you apart. I want you to hear this truth. You were never designed to carry the weight of the world. That is my job. I am the only one with shoulders broad enough to carry the government of the universe. When you try to control everything, you are stepping out of your position as a child and trying to step into the position of the Father. But you lack my omniscience. You can only see what is right in front of your nose. I can see the end from the beginning. You see the roadblock. I see the detour that leads to a better destination. You see the closed door. I see the protection behind it. I am inviting you to do the scariest thing you can imagine. Let go. Take your hands off the steering wheel. I know you are afraid that if you let go, the car will crash. You think that if you stop worrying, everything will fall apart. But I tell you, it is your worrying that is causing the chaos. Your striving is blocking the flow of my grace. There is a freedom you have never tasted, found only in the surrender of the outcome. Imagine a child falling asleep in the back seat of a car while their father drives. The child doesn't worry about the route, the gas, or the traffic. The child rests because they trust the driver. I want you to be that child. I want you to surrender the outcome of that medical test, that lawsuit, that relationship, that financial crisis. Hand it over to me, saying, Lord, I trust you with the result. When you finally stop striving, you will find rest. Real rest. The kind of rest that settles your spirit even when the world is going crazy. My ways are higher than your ways, and my thoughts are higher than your thoughts. You are trying to force a solution that is small and temporary. I am crafting a solution that is eternal and perfect. The idol of control promises safety, but it only delivers fear. I promise you safety, and I deliver peace. Smash that idol today. Open your hands. Release the grip. Let me be God. I know what I am doing, and I love you too much to let you crash. I was there the day your world shattered. I remember the exact moment the phone rang, or the words were spoken, or the door slammed shut. I saw the physical sensation of your heart breaking, the way the air left your lungs, the way the room spun, the way you felt like you were bleeding out on the inside. You felt abandoned. You felt like I had looked away. You wondered how a loving God could allow such searing pain. I want to speak to that broken place in you right now. I am not a distant observer of your suffering. I am the God who draws near to the broken-hearted. I am close to the crushed in spirit. When you are on the floor, unable to get up, I am down there with you. I do not stand over you and tell you to get over it. I sit with you in the ashes. I weep with you. Jesus wept at the tomb of Lazarus, not because he couldn't fix it, but because he felt the pain of those he loved. I feel your pain. You have asked me why. You have screamed it at the ceiling. Listen to me. Pain is not meaningless in my kingdom. I do not enjoy your suffering, but I can use it. Your pain is expanding your capacity for compassion. You are becoming a healer. Before this happened, you could offer people platitudes and cliches. And now, you can offer them true empathy. You can look someone in the eye who is suffering and say, I know how it feels, and mean it. Your deepest wound will become your greatest ministry if you let me heal it. The weeping may endure for a night, and I know that night feels like it has lasted for years. But joy comes in the morning. That is not just a poetic phrase. It is a spiritual law. The sun will rise again. You will laugh again. You will dream again. I have the balm of Gilead, a healing salve that goes deeper than therapy, deeper than time, deeper than distraction. I can heal the wound without leaving a scar that hurts. I'm a redeemer. That means I buy back what was lost. You think you have lost those years, that relationship, that innocence forever. But nothing is truly lost in my kingdom. I can restore the years the locusts have eaten. I can take this tragedy and turn it into a testimony that shakes the gates of hell. The enemy meant this to destroy you, to make you bitter and cold. But I am turning it around to make you powerful and tender. Do not believe the lie that your life is over. This chapter was painful. Yes, it was a dark valley. But it is not the end of the book. I am still writing. And the next chapter is one of restoration. Give me your broken pieces. You think they are trash. I think they are the raw material for a masterpiece. I am the potter, and you are the clay. I can remake you into something even more beautiful than before. Trust my hands. They are gentle, and they are skilled. There is a reason I told you to fear not hundreds of times in my word. It is because I know your frame. I know that you are made of dust, and I know how easily you are frightened. I see you staring into the future like it is a dark abyss. You play out the what-if scenarios until you are paralyzed. What if I lose my job? What if the diagnosis is cancer? What if I end up alone? What if the economy collapses? You are borrowing trouble from tomorrow and paying for it with a piece of today. I want you to stop living in the future. You do not live there. I am there already. I have already walked through your tomorrow. I have already prepared the way. I have already fought the battles you are worrying about. When you get there, I will be waiting for you. But right now, you are here. And I have given you grace for today. Think about the manna in the wilderness. I gave the Israelites enough food for one day. If they tried to hoard it for tomorrow, it rotted. Why did I do that? Because I wanted them to trust me every single morning. I wanted a relationship with them, not just a transaction. I am doing the same with you. I give you daily bread. I give you enough strength, enough wisdom, and enough patience for the next 24 hours. When you try to carry the burden of the next 10 years on your shoulders today, you crush yourself. You are trying to carry a lifetime of heavy loads with a single day's supply of strength. Worry is a thief. It steals your joy, your sleep, and your present moments. It creates problems that don't exist. Most of the things you worry about never happen, and the ones that do happen are never as bad as the monster you created in your mind. And even if the worst happens, I will be there with sufficient grace. You think, I couldn't handle that. You are right. You couldn't handle it today. But if that day comes, I will give you the strength for that day. I challenge you to live fully in the present moment I have gifted you. Look at your children. Look at the sunset. Taste your food. Feel the wind. Be here. The enemy wants you to live in the past with regret or in the future with fear. I want you to live in the now with me. I am the I am, not the I was or the I will be. Your future is secure in my hands. You cannot add a single hour to your life by worrying. In fact, you are robbing yourself of life. Hand your tomorrow to me. I have a plan for you, a plan to prosper you and not to harm you, a plan to give you hope and a future. Trust the architect. I have the blueprints, and they are good. Breathe in my peace. Let tomorrow worry about itself. Today, just walk with me. You have been crying out to me, Lord, help me. Lord, send me an answer. You look to the sky, expecting lightning or a booming voice or a check in the mail. But you are missing the answer because it doesn't look like what you expected. I have sent people to help you, and you have pushed them away. I send angels in disguise. Sometimes they look like a nagging friend who tells you the truth you don't want to hear, Sometimes they look like a strict parent who sets boundaries. Sometimes they look like a stranger who offers a kind word that you brush off. You are rejecting the vessel because it is flawed, but the treasure is inside the vessel. You have a pride problem, my child. You want to be the hero of your own story. You want to say, I did this all by myself. You view asking for help as weakness. You view receiving charity as shameful. But I designed you for community. I created the body of Christ so that no one part can say to the other, I don't need you. You need the hand. You need the foot. You need the eye. You were never meant to walk this journey alone. There was a moment recently when someone offered you advice, godly, wise counsel, and you got defensive. You stiffened your neck. You thought, they don't understand my situation. But I was speaking through them. I was trying to save you from a pitfall. I was using their mouth to deliver my wisdom. But because it required you to humble yourself, you rejected it. I am calling you to lower your defenses. Open your heart to the people I have placed around you. Look at the people in your church, your family, your workplace. They are not there by accident. I have placed specific people in your orbit who hold the keys to your breakthrough. But you have to be humble enough to admit you have a need. Stop isolating yourself. The enemy works in isolation. A wolf separates the sheep from the flock to devour it. When you isolate yourself, you become easy prey for depression and lies. Get back in the flock. Let people love you. Let people serve you. And in turn, serve them. There is unexpected wisdom waiting for you if you will just listen. I can speak through a child. I can speak through a donkey, as I did in the scripture. I can speak through a boss you don't like. If you tune your ear to my voice, you will hear me speaking through the people around you. Accept the helm. He is my gift to you. You are not a burden. You are part of a family. Let the family carry you for a while. Pause it. Do not dare close this door while I am still speaking. To stop listening now is to reject the very help I have sent to rescue you. It grieves my spirit deeply when I offer you bread and you choose to starve in the silence. The enemy wants you to disconnect right now because he fears the truth I am about to reveal. Do not disappoint me by retreating into the shadows. Press on, my child. Your breakthrough is hidden in the next few words. Just as I have sent unexpected angels to support you in your time of need, I am now calling you to be that angel for someone else. You are not designed to be a stagnant reservoir, but a flowing river that carries my healing word to the thirsty souls of this world. By supporting this ministry through Super Thanks membership with a donation link, you are not merely giving money, you are financing the rescue mission for hearts that are breaking in silence. I see the generosity stirring within you, and I declare that as you water others, you yourself will be watered by my abundance. Do not let the seed stay in your hand when it has the power to produce a mighty harvest in the lives of the lost. Partner with me now to spread this message. Click the support button and be the vessel I use to touch the ends of the earth. Act on this prompting immediately, for your obedience unlocks the flow of my provision in your own life. We need to talk about that bitterness you are holding onto. It is sitting in your gut like a stone. You feel justified in holding it. After all, they hurt you. They betrayed you. They lied about you. They didn't apologize. Justice says they should pay. So you hold on to that anger like a shield, thinking it protects you from getting hurt again. But I tell you, that anger is not a shield. It is a cup of poison. And you are drinking it every day, hoping the other person dies. But they are outliving their life, sleeping soundly, while you are rotting from the inside out. I command you to forgive. This is not a suggestion. It is a requirement for your own freedom. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. You cannot ask for my flow of mercy while you dam up the river for someone else. You are blocking your own spiritual arteries. The blessings I want to pour into your life are getting stuck behind the wall of offense you have built. I know what you are thinking. But Lord, forgiveness feels like saying what they did was okay. No. Forgiveness is not justifying their sin. What they did was wrong. It was evil. I saw it, and I hate it too. Forgiveness is not saying it didn't matter. Forgiveness is saying, I choose to hand the right of judgment over to God. It is releasing the debt. It is saying, you owe me, but I am canceling the invoice. I am not going to try to collect from you anymore. Forgiveness is a choice, not a feeling. If you wait until you feel like forgiving, you will take that bitterness to your grave. You make the choice by an act of your will. You say, Lord, I forgive. I release them to you. I bless them. You might have to say that 100 times a day until your heart catches up with your mouth. That is the work of faith. When you forgive, you look most like me. When I hung on that cross, bleeding and suffocating, I looked at the people who put the nails in my hands and said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. I showed mercy to the merciless. I am asking you to do the same. Not because they deserve it, but because you deserve to be free. Cut the chain. Unforgiveness ties you to the person who hurt you. You are dragging them around with you everywhere you go. Cut the chain and walk away. Let me deal with them. I'm a Yud. Vengeance is mine. I will repay. You don't have to be the karma police. You just have to be my child. Let it go today. Breathe out the smoke and bitterness. Breathe in the fresh air of the Holy Spirit. Watch how your physical health improves. Watch how your anxiety drops. Watch how your prayers start to get answered again. The blockage is removed. You are free. Walk in that freedom. I need you to pause and look at what you are building. You are running a race that has no finish line. You are climbing a ladder that is leaning against the wrong wall. I see the exhaustion in your eyes. You are working longer hours, chasing that promotion, obsessing over the numbers in your bank account, and constantly upgrading your possessions. You tell yourself, once I get there, then I will be happy. Once I get the house, the car, the title, the recognition, then I will rest. But I tell you, that is a lie. You have already achieved things you once prayed for, and yet, the hunger is still there, isn't it? The satisfaction of a new purchase fades faster than the morning mist. You are distracted. You are so busy trying to gain the world that you are in danger of losing your soul. You are trading the eternal for the temporary. You are investing all your energy into treasures that moth and rust will destroy, and that thieves can break in and steal. Look at the things you own. They are just things. They break, they fade, they go out of style. You cannot take a single one of them with you when your time here is done. Hearses do not have trailer hitches. You will stand before me one day, and I will not ask you about your net worth, your job title, or how many followers you had. I will ask you, did you know me? Did you love people? I want to redefine success for you. The world says success is having more. I say success is obedience. Success is finding the specific will of God for your life and doing it with all your heart. You can be the CEO of a Fortune 500 company and be a failure in my eyes if you have lost your family and your integrity along the way. You can be a janitor who prays for the building and loves his neighbors and be a massive success in my kingdom. You are building your house on shifting sand. When the winds of life blow, and they will blow, a house built on money, reputation, or career will collapse. It has no foundation. I am the rock. I am the only solid ground. I want you to store up treasures in heaven. How do you do that? By serving, by giving, by loving the unlovable, by spending time in prayer. These are deposits into an account that never loses value, an account that pays dividends for eternity. Stop looking for your identity in what you do. You are not a lawyer, a teacher, a mother, or a business owner. They're the roles. They are hats you wear. Who you are is my child. That is your identity. If you lose your job tomorrow, you do not lose your value because your value was never in the job. It was in the price I paid for you on the cross. Come back to the simple joy of knowing me. Stop striving for the applause of people who don't truly care about you. Seek my well done, good and faithful servant. That is the only applause that matters. I am inviting you to step off the treadmill. It is going nowhere. Come walk with me in the cool of the day. I know you feel dry. I know you feel like you are walking through a desert where there is no water, no shade, and no voice from heaven. You pray, and it feels like your words hit the ceiling and bounce back. You read your Bible, and the pages feel like dry dust. You look for me, and you see only sand. You are screaming inside, God, where did you go? Have I sinned? Have you abandoned me? Listen to me closely. I have not abandoned you. I have led you here. The wilderness is not an accident. It is an appointment. The Holy Spirit led Jesus into the wilderness, and I have led you here too. Why? Not to punish you, but to prepare you. I cannot do deep work in you while you are surrounded by the comforts and distractions of Egypt. I have to strip everything away so that you can learn that I am enough. In the noise of your busy life, you couldn't hear my deep whispers. In the abundance of your resources, you didn't need to trust me for your daily bread. But here, in the silence, you have no choice. This is where intimacy is forged. Israel learned who I was in the desert. Moses became a leader in the desert. Elijah heard the still, small voice in the desert. Paul received his revelation in the desert. You are in good company. This is the training ground for giants. I am stripping away the props you used to lean on. You used to lean on your talent, your money, your friends, your routine. I'm kicking those crutches away so you learn to lean on my arm alone. It feels scary, I know. It feels like you are falling. But you are falling into me. Look for the manna. In the wilderness, I provide differently. It won't be a feast. It will be just enough for today. A small encouragement. A verse that stands out. A psalm that touches your heart. Gather in. Here. Trust that I am sustaining you even when you don't feel the goosebumps. You not rush to get out of this season. If you exit the wilderness prematurely, you will miss the character development that you need for your next assignment. There is a promised land waiting for you. Yes, milk and honey are coming. But you cannot handle the giants in the promised land if you haven't learned to trust me in the wilderness. I promise you, this is a passage, not a destination. You will not die here. I'm opening a stream in the wasteland. I'm making a way where there is no way. Embrace the silence. Let it hollow you out so I can fill you with something greater. Myself. I am right here, walking in the sand beside you. You are not lost. You are just being found in a deeper way. There is a thief in your house, and you invited him in. His name is comparison. You spend hours scrolling through the highlight reels of other people's lives. You see their vacations, their perfect bodies, their happy marriages, their successful businesses, and their obedient children. And then you look at your own messy, complicated life, and you feel a deep, sinking sense of inadequacy. You feel like you are falling behind. You feel like I have held out on you. I command you to stop looking at your neighbor's plate. When you look at what I gave them, you ignore what I gave you. Comparison is the thief of joy. It steals your gratitude. You cannot be thankful for your own harvest while you are coveting someone else's field. You do not know their story. You see their glory, but you do not know their story. You see the harvest, but you did not see the tears they sowed in the dark. You did not see the battles they fought to get there. I have given you a specific lane. I designed a race just for you. When you look sideways to see how fast someone else is running, you stumble. You slow down. You lose your focus. You are not competing with them. You are running for an audience of one. I do not show favoritism, but I do distribute different gifts. To one, I give 5 talents. To another, 2. To another, 1. I do not ask the 2-talent servant to produce a 5-talent return. I ask for faithfulness with what you have. You are coveting a life that wouldn't fit you. If I gave you their blessing, it might crush you because you don't have their specific anointing. And if I gave them your burden, they might collapse because they don't have your specific strength. I matched your life to your soul perfectly. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. That means I made you with great reverence and detail. I broke the mold when I made you. There is no one else like you in the universe. Why would you want to be a cheap copy of someone else when you are an original masterpiece? Put your blinders on. Focus on your own path. Celebrate others when they win. Learn to say, God, I thank you for blessing them, and mean it. When you can celebrate someone else's victory without it diminishing your own value, you have reached spiritual maturity. I have blessings with your name on them. They are not in someone else's house. They are waiting for you on your own path. Turn your eyes back to me. I am the author and finisher of your faith, not theirs. Trust my distribution. Trust my goodness. You are exactly where you need to be. I gave you a gift. You know the one. It is that dream, that skill, that idea, that passion I place deep inside you. Maybe it's writing, maybe it's business, maybe it's singing, maybe it's hospitality, maybe it's teaching. But right now, it is buried under a pile of fear and excuses. You wrapped it in a napkin and hid it in the ground. You told yourself, I'm not ready. I'm not good enough. What if I fail? What if people criticize me? I'll wait until the conditions are perfect. I am calling you out on this today. You are operating out of fear, not faith. And I did not give you a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. When you bury your talent, you are robbing the world of the blessing I intended to give them through you. Your gift is not for you. It is for others. When you hide it, you are being selfish. You are thinking about your own safety instead of someone else's salvation or encouragement. You are afraid of failure. But in my kingdom, the only true failure is doing nothing. I would rather you try and stumble than sit still and rust. I am a creator, and I made you in my image, which means you are designed to create. When you use your gifts, you are co-creating with me. You feel alive when you do it, don't you? The joy you feel when you are in your element, that is my pleasure running through you. Do not be the wicked and lazy servant. Those are harsh words, I know, but Jesus used them for a reason. It is wicked to waste the potential I invested in you. I expect a return on my investment. I gave you life, breath, and ability. What are you giving me back? Dig it out. Today. Dust it off. It might feel rusty. It might be awkward at first. Do it anyway. Start small. Write the first page. Sing the first note. Start the business. Make the meal. Invite the neighbor. Do not despise the day of small beginnings. I bless movement. I cannot steer a pack. Get moving, and I will guide you. You are waiting for the fear to go away before you start. But I tell you, the fear leaves after you start. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is acting in spite of it. Occupy until I come. Work while it is day, for the night is coming when no man can work. I have put a light in you. Do not hide it under a basket. Put it on a stand so it gives light to the whole house. Let your light shine. Let the world see your good works and glorify me. You have what it takes because I put it there. Now use it. I feel you pulling back. I feel the fear trying to make you run. But I command you, stand your ground. If you silence my voice now, you are burying your potential all over again. You are turning your back on the destiny I crafted specifically for you. Do not let my words fall to the ground void. It pains me to see you settle for mediocrity when I am calling you to greatness. Honor me with your attention. Your future depends on what I am about to say. I see the book sitting on your shelf, or perhaps on your nightstand. It collects dust. You treat it like a relic, a decoration, or a good luck charm. But my child, you are starving. Your spirit is emaciated. You are trying to fight spiritual battles with physical strength, and you are losing. You wonder why you are so weak, why you are so easily tempted, why you are so confused. It is because you are not eating. My word is not just a book. It is bread. Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds from my mouth. You feed your body 3 times a day. You obsess over your diet, your calories, your macros. But you let your spirit go days, weeks, without food. You are suffering from spiritual anorexia. You grab a crumb here and there, a quick verse on social media, a 10-second video, but you never sit down to the banquet I have prepared. My word is a sword. It is alive and active. It is sharper than any double-edged sword. It penetrates to dividing soul and spirit, joints and marrow. It judges the thoughts and attitudes of the heart. You are walking into a battlefield every day. The enemy is firing lies at you. You're ugly. You're worthless. You're doomed. And you have no weapon to fight back with because your sword is in its sheath, gathering dust. When Jesus was tempted in the desert, he didn't use his feelings. He used the word. He said, "It is written." You need to be able to say, "It is written." But you cannot quote what you have not read. This is your instruction manual for life. You are crying out for guidance, asking me to show you the way, while the map is sitting closed right next to you. Open the book. Everything you need is in there. Wisdom for your finances, your marriage, your children, your mental health. It is all there. But you have to dig for it like silver. You have to search for it like hidden treasure. I am the Word made flesh. When you spend time in the Scriptures, you are spending time with me. I am inviting you to commune with me. Don't read it like a textbook. Read it like a love letter. Ask me, Holy Spirit, reveal truth to me. And I will. The words will jump off the page. They will burn in your heart. I command you, eat the scroll. Devour the truth. Meditate on it day and night. Let it wash over your mind and cleanse you of the world's filth. Replace the lies of the culture with the truth of the kingdom. If you abide in my word, you are truly my disciples. Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Don't wait for Sunday. Open it today. I am waiting to speak to you from those pages. I need you to stand in front of the mirror for a moment. I know this is hard for you. You often look at your reflection with criticism, taking apart every flaw, every wrinkle, and every extra pound. You see a source of frustration, but I see a miracle. You are looking at the temple of the Holy Spirit. I did not give you a shack. I gave you a sanctuary. I dwelt in a temple made of stone in the old days, but now I dwell in you. Your body is the physical house for my spirit. Think about that. The God who created the universe lives inside your ribcage. How are you treating my home? I see the way you run yourself into the ground. You push your body to the limit, depriving it of sleep, fueling it with substances that poison you, and ignoring the warning lights of pain and exhaustion. You treat your body like a rental car that you don't care about, rather than a sacred vessel entrusted to your care. You cannot separate your physical health from your spiritual alertness. When you are exhausted, you are vulnerable. When your body is weak from neglect, your spirit struggles to fight the battles of the day. I am calling you to discipline. This is not about vanity. This is not about having a perfect physique to impress the world. This is about stewardship. I want you to glorify me in your body. That means making choices that honor the life I gave you. It means putting down the food that harms you. It means moving the muscles I designed. It means resting when I tell you to rest. You are too tired to pray because you are too stubborn to sleep. I desire healing for you. I see the infirmities you carry. I see the chronic pain, the fatigue, the sickness that tries to steal your joy. I am the great physician. I want you to partner with me in your healing. Do your part. Honor the vessel. And where your strength ends, my power begins. Do not despise your body. Do not curse the skin you are in. I knit you together. I made you fearfully and wonderfully. Remember, physical beauty is fleeting. It fades like a flower in the sun. The world chases youth, but I cherish a gentle and quiet spirit. However, your body is the tool I use to touch the world. Your hands heal, your feet go, your mouth speaks. If the tool is broken because of neglect, the work suffers. Offer your body to me today as a living sacrifice. This is your reasonable act of worship. Not just your mind, not just your heart, but your flesh and blood dedicated to me. Say, Lord, this body is yours. Help me to care for it. Watch how your spiritual clarity sharpens when you honor the physical temple I have given you. You are playing a game with me in your mind. It is like a child plucking petals off a flower. He loves me. He loves me not. When you have a good day, when you read your Bible, when you are kind to your neighbor, you think, God loves me today. But when you snap at your spouse, when you fall back into that old addiction, when you have a bad thought, you think, He loves me not. You are projecting human, conditional love onto a divine, unconditional God. Humans love you because of what you do for them or how you make them feel. I love you because of who I am. God is love. It is not just what I do, it is the substance of my existence. I need you to understand the dimensions of my love. It is higher than the stars you gaze at. It is deeper than the ocean trenches. It is wider than the universe. You cannot find the edge of it. You cannot run to a place where my love does not exist. If you make your bed in the depths, I am there. If you rise on the wings of the dawn, I am there. You cannot outrun my affection. You are trying to earn what can only be received. Look at the cross. That is my final argument. That is my microphone drop. If you ever doubt your worth, look at the price tag I paid for you. I did not pay with gold or silver. I paid with the blood of my Son. I would not have paid such a high price for something worthless. The cross is the eternal proof that I am crazy about you. I saw you at your absolute worst, in your sin, in your rebellion, and I said, you are worth dying for. Who shall separate you from the love of Christ? Shall trouble or hardship or persecution or famine or nakedness or danger or sword? No, in all these things you are more than a conqueror. I am convinced that neither death nor life, neither angels nor demons, neither the present nor the future, nor any powers, neither height nor depth, nor anything else in all creation, will be able to separate you from my love. Do you hear that? Nothing. That includes you. That includes your failures. That includes your doubts. I am pursuing you. I am the hound of heaven, chasing you down with goodness and mercy. Stop running. Turn around and let me catch you. I rejoice over you with singing. I don't just tolerate you, I celebrate you. Let that sink into your marrow. You are loved fiercely, eternally and completely. Stop doubting. Start basking. You have been thinking you are just having a string of bad luck. You think the arguments in your home, the sudden waves of depression, the intrusive thoughts that tell you to give up, are just random psychological events. Wake up, my child. You are in a war. There is an enemy of your soul. He comes to steal, kill, and destroy. He hates you because you look like me. He cannot hurt me, so he tries to hurt what I love. He wants to steal your peace, kill your dreams, and destroy your destiny. But listen to me. You are not a victim. You are a victor. I have not sent you into this battle to defend us. I have given you armor, but you are walking around the battlefield in your pajamas. Put on the full armor of God. Put on the helmet of salvation to protect your mind from the lies. Put on the breastplate of righteousness to guard your heart. Take up the shield of faith to extinguish the fiery arrows of doubt. Hold the sword of the Spirit, which is my word. You have authority. You are not fighting for victory. You are fighting from victory. I have already overcome the world. When Jesus said, "It is finished," the war was won. Now, you are enforcing that victory. I have given you authority to trample on serpents and scorpions and to overcome all the power of the enemy. Nothing will harm you. But you have to use it. You have to open your mouth. The battlefield is in your mind. That is where the war is won or lost. When a thought comes that says, "You are a failure," that is an arrow. Don't just let it stick in your head. Bill it out. Cast down every imagination that exalts itself against the knowledge of God. Speak back to it. Say, "No. I am the righteousness of God in Christ." Prayer is your heavy artillery. It is not just a polite request. It is a weapon of war. When you pray, you are calling in airstrikes on the enemy's position. You are shifting atmospheres. Do not be passive. Do not let the enemy camp in your living room. Kick him out. Rebuke the devourer. Cover your family in the blood of Jesus. Fear not, for I am with you. The one who is in you is greater than the one who is in the world. You are dangerous to the darkness. That is why you are being attacked. If you were no threat, the enemy would leave you alone. Stand your ground. Stand firm, and see the salvation of the Lord. I hear the cry of your heart when you watch the news. You see the injustice. You see the innocent suffering. You see the wicked prospering, getting away with crimes, living in luxury while the righteous struggle. You feel a burning anger inside you. You ask God, were you blind? Do you not see this evil? Why don't you stop it? I want you to know, my anger against evil burns hotter than yours ever could. You see the surface. I see the heart. I see every tear shed by the oppressed. I hear the blood crying out from the ground. I am a God of justice. It is the foundation of my throne. Do not mistake my patience for permission. I am patient because I am giving time for repentance. I do not wish for any to perish, but for all to come to repentance. But make no mistake, a day of reckoning is coming. Vengeance is mine. I will repay. You do not need to take revenge into your own hands. If you try to execute justice yourself, you will only create more pain. Hand the gavel to me. I will balance the scales. Every secret thing will be brought into the light. Every wrong will be made right. No one gets away with anything in my universe. There's a record, but I call you to look at your own heart too. You cry for justice for others, but you cry for mercy for yourself. Act justly in your own sphere. Love mercy. Walk humbly. Be the voice for the voiceless. Defend the orphan and the widow. Do not just complain about the darkness. Light a candle. I promise you, the day is coming when I will wipe away every tear. I will make all things new. The wicked will be no more, but the meek will inherit the earth. Trust in my timing. Trust in my justice. It may seem slow to you, but it is sure. The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice because I am bending it. Find comfort in this. I see. I know. And I will act. Do not let the evil in the world turn your heart into stone. Keep your heart soft. Keep praying for my kingdom to come. When my kingdom comes, justice comes with it like a mighty river. You are inches away from the finish line. Do not stop running now. The enemy is terrified that you will hear the final instructions I have for your victory. It would be a tragedy to endure the battle only to walk away before receiving the crown. Do not grieve me by quitting when I have already secured your triumph. I am asking for your endurance. Listen to the end, for I am about to seal my promise over your life. You have cried out for justice and truth in a world filled with shadows, and today I invite you to become a torchbearer of my light. My word is the ultimate weapon that defeats darkness, and through your support, you send this sword of truth to liberate captives and defend the spiritual orphan. When you offer a super thanks or sow a seed through PayPal, you are taking a stand against the enemy's lies and ensuring my voice is heard above the noise. This is not a simple transaction. It is a prophetic declaration that you are fighting on the front lines for the expansion of my kingdom. As you honor me with your substance, I promise to rebuke the devourer for your sake and open the windows of heaven over your household. Do not stand on the sidelines while the battle rages. Equip this mission to reach more souls. Release your gift right now and watch how I multiply your offering into a harvest of righteousness. You have been working hard. You have been planting seeds of kindness, seeds of prayer, seeds of financial giving, and seeds of hard work. And you look at the field, and it looks bare. You feel like you are burying your effort in the dirt, and nothing is coming back. You are tempted to give up. You are tempted to say, "It's not working. Why bother doing good when no one notices?" I am here to remind you of the law of the harvest. Do not be deceived. God cannot be mocked. A man reaps what he sows. This is a promise. If you sow to the Spirit, you will reap eternal life. If you sow righteousness, you will reap a reward. But there is a season between planting and reaping. It is the season of waiting. It is the season of watering and weeding. You are in that season right now. Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. If we do not give up, that is the key condition. The only way you lose is if you quit. The seed is growing. You can't see it yet because it is underground, establishing a root system. But the breakthrough is coming. The green shoot is about to break the surface. I call you to be a generous sower. Give, and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together and running over, will be poured into your lap. You cannot outgive me. When you open your hand to bless the poor, you are lending to the Lord, and I will repay you. Look for the harvest not just in money, but in joy, in peace, in relationships, in spiritual maturity. That is the fruit that lasts. I am growing the fruit of the Spirit in your life: love, joy, peace, patience. These are more valuable than gold. Keep sowing, even through your tears. Those who sow with tears will reap with songs of joy. He who goes out weeping, carrying seed to sow, will return with psalms of joy, carrying sheaves with him. Your tears are watering the seeds. The harvest is coming. Get your barns ready. Prepare for the blessing. Do not stop now. You are closer than you think. We come now to the hardest part of our conversation. The part where I ask you for the one thing you are most afraid to give, your will. You believe in me, yes. You trust me to save you, yes. But do you submit to me? There is a difference. Believing is acknowledging I exist. Submitting is acknowledging I am king. You are fighting a war against my will in certain areas of your life. You have drawn a line in the sand and said, Lord, you can have everything, but not this relationship, not this habit, not this dream. I am calling you to raise the white flag. Surrender is not defeat. In my kingdom, surrender is the only way to victory. You are fighting against the current of my grace. You are exhausted because you are swimming upstream. Turn around. Let go. Let the river carry you. Crucify the flesh. That part of you that wants to be the boss, that wants to satisfy every craving, that wants to have its own way. It must die so that you can live. Whoever wants to save their life will lose it, but whoever loses their life for me will find it. This is the great paradox. You think surrender means losing out. I tell you, surrender means cashing in. It means trading your heavy burden for my light one. Not my will, but yours be done. Those were the words that saved the world when Jesus spoke them in the garden. They are the words that will save your life today. Say them. Mean them. Trust that my will is good, pleasing, and perfect. I am not trying to ruin your fun. I am trying to give you abundant life. My yoke is easy and my burden is light. Take my yoke upon you. Stop pulling the plow by yourself. Let me take the weight. When you surrender, the anxiety leaves. You don't have to figure it out anymore. You just have to follow. You don't have to be the captain. You just have to be the crew. Give it all to me today. The secret sins, the gripping fears, the tight control. Open your hands. Let it go. Fall into my arms. You will find a peace that you have chased your whole life but never caught. It is found on the other side of yes, Lord. I want you to lift your eyes from the dust of the earth. You are so focused on the here and now, on the problems of this week, that you have forgotten where you are going. You are a pilgrim. You are a stranger in a foreign land. This world is not your home. You are just passing through. That ache in your soul that nothing in this world can satisfy, that is homesickness. You were made for another world. I have gone to prepare a place for you. In my Father's house are many rooms. I am building a place specifically for you. It is real. It is solid. It is glorious. Eye has not seen, ear has not heard, and no mind has conceived the things I have prepared for those who love me. I know you suffer here. I know the body hurts, the heart breaks, and death steals your loved ones. But I want you to weigh the current suffering against the future glory. It is not worth comparing. The troubles of today are light and momentary compared to the eternal weight of glory that is coming. Imagine a place with no hospitals, no graveyards, no clinics, no divorce courts, no prisons. I will wipe every tear from your eyes. There will be no more death or mourning or crying or pain, for the old order of things has passed away. You will see the loved ones who died in the Lord. You will be reunited. But the best part is not the streets of gold or the pearly gates. The best part is that you will see me face to face. No more veil. No more whispers. You will look into my eyes, and you will know, fully and completely, that you are home. Let this hope anchor you. When the world gets dark, look at the horizon. Morning is coming. The King is coming. Hold on. Do not lose heart. The finish line is just ahead. Keep running. The prize is worth the price. Maybe you are reading this and you feel far away. Maybe you have drifted. Maybe you ran away to a far country like the prodigal son, and you are sitting in a pig pen of your own making. You think, I've gone too far. God could never take me back now. I've wasted everything He gave me. Listen to me. Come home. I am not standing on the porch with crossed arms and a scowl. I am scanning the horizon, waiting for the first glimpse of your silhouette. The moment you turn your heart toward me, I am running to meet you. I don't care where you have been. I don't care what you have done. I don't care how much you smell like the world. I just want you. There are no prerequisites. You don't have to clean yourself up first. Come as you are. Come with your doubts, your dirt, your shame. I have a robe to cover your shame. I have a ring to restore your authority. I have sandals for your feet. And I have a feast prepared. There is more joy in heaven over one sinner who repents than over 99 righteous persons who need no repentance. The angels are ready to throw a party. The only thing waiting for you is grace. Repentance is a scary word, but it just means turning around. It means changing your mind. It means saying, I was wrong. I want to come back. That's it. One step. Take that step today. Don't let pride keep you in the pig pen. You are a son. You are a daughter. You belong at the King's table. I can restore the years you lost. I can fix the mess. But you have to come home. The door is open. The light is on. I am calling your name. Come home, my child. Come home. We have reached the end of our conversation, but this is not the end of our relationship. It is just the beginning. I want to leave you with the most important promise in the universe. It is the promise I gave to Moses, to Joshua, to the disciples, and now to you. I am with you. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the first and the last. I was with you before you were born, and I will be with you when you take your final breath and step into eternity. There is not a single millisecond of your timeline where I am absent. You are never alone. I have given you the Great Commission to go into the world, but I wrapped it in a promise. Surely I am with you always, to the very end of the age. I have sealed you with my Holy Spirit. He is the deposit, the guarantee of your inheritance. He is the voice inside you, the comfort around you, the power within you. You are part of a kingdom that cannot be shaken. The world will shake. Economies will shake. Nations will shake. But you stand on the solid rock. You are safe. I speak a blessing over you now. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face shine on you and be gracious to you. May the Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace. Go in this strength. Go in this love. You are seen. You are known. You are forgiven. You are empowered. You are mine. I love you. I love you. I love you. Amen. This message has found its way to your heart for a divine purpose, destined not to end with you, but to ripple out into eternity through your hands. I am calling you to partner with me in the greatest work of all, the saving of souls, by ensuring this ministry continues to be a lighthouse in the storm. Your offering today, whether through membership or a donation, stands as a memorial before my throne, a sweet-smelling incense of your love and commitment to my cause. I am the Lord who provides seed to the sower and bread for food, and as you pour out for my sake, I will pour into your life a good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Do not hold back your hand when you have the power to do good. Seize this holy opportunity to invest in a treasure that moth and rust cannot destroy. Click the link to support this work now. Seal this word in your spirit by sowing into the destiny of others, and receive my blessing upon your generosity. Do not dismiss this moment as a mere coincidence. I have orchestrated this divine appointment specifically to awaken your dormant destiny. If these words have finally pierced the noise and found a home in your spirit, do not leave this place unchanged or silent. Seal this covenant immediately by declaring your readiness below. Write, I hear you, Lord, as a prophetic act of surrender. By making this declaration, you are unlocking the door I have been knocking on and inviting my supernatural power to flood your circumstances. Act now, my beloved, for your transformation begins the moment you answer my call. Amen.